Yes, everyone, welcome back to the Irish Hotspur here. This is going to be a fan call-in show for all the lovely members who do support this channel. Worst possible start, really, to a Premier League season that we could have. Usually, funny enough, Dave, I feel like Spurs often have good starts, but then it usually derails around October period. We get a little
Yeah.
bit of a high, get a few wins off the bounce. Everybody's thinking, could we, could we? And then it just absolutely crashes. Maybe let's hope it's the opposite this time, where it's a slow start and then a very strong finish to the season. But I really don't know if it could have gone any worse in that match. Of course, question marks about the lineup and whether we'll even see that same team for the rest of the season. De Zerbi probably did have some pickles and some trouble picking the team for the most part, but still, I don't think anyone expected it to go that poorly, really. And that's what we'll be discussing. Plenty of individual performances that were terrible to discuss. Some transfer news that's now going the opposite direction in the case of Cody Gakpo. Plenty of things to chat about tonight. I'd be impressed if any of these guys would be able to cover it all, but that's why we have them on, so that we can have some other opinions, some other people's voices to be represented on this channel. Before I get to the chat here, Dave, any revelations over the weekend or anything that you did to take your mind off of that performance?
No, there's nothing I could do to really take my mind off the performance, to be honest with you. I spent my day with the dad, and even he was going mad. I was like, you need to calm down your heart, relax. Oh, let them get to you and stuff. But no, look, it was just an absolute shambles. I think it sucked the enthusiasm right out of the atmosphere at Tottenham Hotspur. You know, if we would have went there and put in a decent performance, and, you know, even if we came out, say, losing 2-1, you would go, okay, but with better players coming back, you know what I mean? We're going to win games. But for me, it was just the alarming, the lack of work rate, the lack of physicality, and the lack of fitness compared to a lot of the teams I've watched over the weekend. You know, and look, it was disjointed all over the shop. New signings with some of the old players from last year and stuff like that. And it was just a complete disjointed mismatch on the football pitch. To be honest with you, it was borderline embarrassing, actually. You know, with all the new signings coming in, with some of them players' confidence still low from last year, I don't think it's done any of them any good. I hope they don't start playing within themselves. And I'm just looking at De Zerbi on the bench, you know, and then I think about over the course of preseason, didn't really look too interested over preseason and stuff like that. I'm starting to become concerned. We might have, got into the De Zerbi already, and he could be pondering an exit very, very soon. But look, let's wait and see what happens. You know, I'll we'll be playing Wednesday evening, and that one will be soon put behind us, Jack. I hope.
It was one of those where there were no positives to be taken. The only positive was probably something Dave mentioned at the end of the watch along, which is it's a long season. It is only one match. There are plenty more weekends to go. And you would think that Spurs can have the time during the week to sort of fix things, and there will be new lineups, and just the idea that we shouldn't try to press the panic alarm just yet. But of course, you have to recognize that's probably the worst start you could have, really. But I did appreciate that you said that at the end of the watch long, that you can't be pressing panic alarm yet, but there's also no hiding from that performance.
No, there's no hiding from it whatsoever. And look, we just need the new signings to get in as quick as we can. And we need the injured players and some of the players come back from the World Cup to get up to fitness maybe quicker than what they even anticipated, to be really honest with you, Jack.
Well said. Let's get to the chat here, and then we'll get these guys in straight away. We already have a few in the back end, so please, if you are planning on coming on the show, reserve your spot in the queue. If you're considering becoming a member of the channel, we appreciate it. It's pinned at the top of the chat or at the bottom these days. I think that's how YouTube does it. And follow the link over in the post section if you want to come on and have your say. Dan Coy's, good to see you. I was too busy to really follow the preseason. Plus, I never got the chance to see any games. Was our preseason a waste of time? Question mark. Did we really not improve or achieve anything? Come on, you Harris Army. Great question, Dan. We have lots of good questions tonight, but maybe that is something that we'll revisit during this fan show or maybe a panel show.
Complete waste of time. Complete waste of time.
Worth going back to for maybe people like Dan, who healthily and probably responsibly take a bit of a break from Spurs during the summer and then are asking the question, what was preseason like, fellas? It didn't look like a lot was achieved. So maybe
there's no planning to it. You know, like, as much as we all wanted us to win at the weekend, you know, once the results happen and the performance being put in, you sort of look back and reflect. You go, sure, no wonder why. Preseason was all over the shop. There was no planning to it. There was no intensity to it. You know, there was no plan for these players gradually coming back from the World Cup and building up the intensity. No wonder why it happened on the weekend.
And then Shem Tan saying, good to see you both. Hope all is well with you. Shem, week one and already the kebab shop, Dave's local Indian takeaway, they're still out of business because of the lack of Spurs wins. We need to get the wins on the board so we can start getting those takeaway orders in. He's saying just 60 million plus Richie and Sar. Let's go get Osimhen, please. Q7's in the house as well. Always appreciate your support, Q7. L Spur, good to see you. Waiting for the stream from Chicago. Always around the world, L Spur. Good to have you. Thanks for taking the time to see us. Paul's in the house. We are Spurs TV's in here. J Mac as well. Jimmy Hotspur. Andrew Burnett. Slow. I'm clicking on the comments, but I am seeing your guys' names. So many people in the house. Dropkick your teacher saying there's no fixing players like Barrett and Gallagher. I am absolutely effed off with Barrett. Gallagher, I kind of had no expectations for, but Dave was seeing I was trying to be more balanced about Barrett because I was seeing some improvements I thought in the preseason. So I didn't want to just feel like I had completely made my mind up yet on the player. Gallagher, I pretty much did. I knew that he helped us a ton in the last 7 games of the season, but I've seen enough of him to know that I don't think should be a Spurs player in a year's time, really. And then with Bergvall, there are a lot of people who hype him up. There are a lot of people who believe in the guy. I've seen him make that mistake more times in one hand now at this point. And to me, that just screams what we've accused him of before, a lack of intelligence, a lack of maybe understanding as a midfielder that those are the types of things you just cannot do at the high level. And it's also maybe the audacity or, I don't know, again, the lack of brain or intelligence, the fact that he thinks he can continually get away with that type of thing of 3 players pressing him, and he thinks he can Neymar himself through all 3 of them somehow. It's unbelievable, really.
Even De Zerbi's quotes after the game, Jack, were a bit alarming. It's sort of like, it almost stunk to me that, the club are the one that turned down the fee for him earlier on. I don't think De Zerbi has any personal attachment to Bergvall. Sort of saying that he was going to put him out there and he knew he would suffer, which means he doesn't rate the player whatsoever. He's telling you he's crap.
Maybe it's Johan Lange's golden boy that they've signed for a really cheap fee. And they're thinking, oh, well, he's going to come good. All the results, all the data, everything, all the highlight reel shows that this guy's going to be amazing. He just hasn't been. And I wonder if that's the case where they're just thinking they have some generational talent for such a low fee that surely he'll come good at some point, but it just clearly hasn't.
But the thing is that you win. Like, this is Tottenham's problem. They never take no for an answer. You may think he's generational, but we've given him nearly 100 fucking senior games at Tottenham for a 19, 20-year-old. And he showed absolutely nothing. Look at what Cole Palmer showed at Chelsea when he got out of Man City and was given his opportunity and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's levels to this game. He's shown absolutely nothing. Why do we continue to put him out there? That's the frustrating thing. Some of the shit we've seen him do with losing the ball on the edge of his own box and stuff like that led to chances and a goal or two. He's been doing that for 3 years now. The guy is not learning. He's not grasping. So why do we keep putting him out there? And the reason why I say it's the club's fault is they would have no problem accepting an offer like they did for Harry Kane, even though managers would want to keep him. Managers would want him to stay here and stuff like that. And they didn't accept the money that was on the offer on the table for Bergvall. And this is where, the club need to start being smart. You've given him, I don't know how many odd games. He's not working out. Realize you've been given a good chunk of cash. Take it and move him on. Paulinho should have been the one in there at the weekend, not fucking Lucas Bergvall.
Well, so
should have signed Paulinho.
Don't get me started on the signing of Paulinho. Or if anyone mentions Will Lancashire, I might need to take a 2-minute break. Bulgarian Smoker. What that Van Hecke was that game. Dan, good to have you with us. Hopefully everything's all good with you, my friend. Hopefully
Where have you been? Where have you been, Danny boy? I've missed you.
Stack is in the house. Good to see you, Stack. J-Mac saying horrible result and performance. I've heard still pretty zen about it, though. Players to come back and the style of play to be implemented. I like your style there, J-Mac. Trinidad as well. Appreciate the support, Trinidad. He sent in some jewels, and then also he said, sending the W so we can remember what it feels like until we see it on the pitch. Feeling Conte vibes with De Zerbi, sending a message to the board, to the players as well, you would say. Maybe kind of calling out in the case of Bergvall or some others, saying that we're not a team yet. We haven't gelled yet. Paul Markey, we're going to get to your super chat about that. I apologize for leaving out that part of the quote, but I just felt like the yet was maybe not as impactful or maybe as click worthy. So I decided to leave it out. I am a bit shameless, but I did still think the quote was powerful enough to suggest that he feels like maybe this preseason has not been as great as he once thought, or the fact that they haven't maybe come together in the way that anyone would have expected by this stage. I thought it was still a pretty powerful quote nonetheless.
Don't get me wrong. I think there's an element of frustration, that we're still waiting to get better, attacking players in and stuff like that. De Zerbi's been given more than every other manager. He's been given more or less what he's asked for to a large degree, So on this one, there is an element where you're not going to get everything done in one window. So he's going to get a lot of what he wants, and he's going to have to work with others. It's that simple. He would have known that walking into the job, so I'm not going to give him a free pass in that aspect. Every manager walks into a football club, and there's always an element of you have to get the best out of what's there until you can bring in the players that you prefer.
Paul Markey saying, guys, you left out the most important word in the mentioned quote yet. Don't forget, he never even wanted to do the down under tour.
Oh, yeah. Look, preseason has been absolutely shambolic. He didn't want to do the tour. He didn't want to be out there. And then even the games we organised when we got back, playing Getafe back-to-back in the same day in 70-minute games, playing Hoffenheim 2 days in a row. It's just stinks of piss-poor planning and disjointed, not organised, and you've seen that reflected on the football pitch. One thing that I said over preseason, I'm sick of doing, is Tottenham very rarely arrive into the season fully ready to go. You're always shelling points, at the expense of something we haven't done properly. And I'm absolutely fed up with it. I'm absolutely sick of it. If Brentford can make sure they're there and ready to go for the first game of the season with that sort of intensity, Brentford, sorry, not Reading. There's no excuses for Tottenham Hotspur. With as soon as De Zerbi walked in here, they should have scrapped the preseason plans and said, De Zerbi, what do you want to do? That clearly never happened. Even on the tour, Tottenham were offered a lot more games out there. Chose not to take them. De Zerbi just didn't want to be there whatsoever. He just wanted to turn up on the plane and get the fuck straight back out of there. I don't know. But look, fail to prepare to fail. That's the old Roy Keane quote.
We do have the full quote that you're referencing, Paul Markey. It's just hard for me to try to figure out the best way to put it in a title form of the YouTube video, but we will be asking, of course, all the guests about that quote. I thought it to be very revealing about how he feels right now, to be honest. Dropkick, your teacher said, should be said, Andrew tactically outclassed De Zerbi.
I don't even know if it's tactically outclassed. Like, you look at the squad that was out there, the right-hand side was completely weak and youth. The fitness levels, the physicality. I'm not being funny, but every ball that went up in the air, they won every single one. I don't even think that's just tactically outclassed. Like, it's hard to say we were tactically outclassed when there was no work rate, no fitness levels, and you couldn't even get a fucking glove on them. It's hard to say you're tactically outclassed. How much is down to them just being ready to go, and how much of it is down to us not being ready to go to a certain degree?
I think Keith Andrews had his team well more prepared than us, but also individually, artists, if you went through their whole team, you can make the case that the starting 11 we put out versus Brentford might have the majority better players there. Igor Thiago's better than Richarlison. Coyote is a better right back by far than Archie Gray. You look at their midfield, the way they played versus ours. Like, I know people rate Bergvall. I know some people defend Gallagher, but Matthias Jensen, Janel, all their players, hardworking guys, they're physical players, absolutely dominated us. Tonali stuck out, to be fair. He didn't look good either, but we know he can be good. But he's kind of the only player, I would say, that maybe gets into that Brentford team. Van Hecke, Senesi, we all really rate before that game. They played awfully. They looked strangers compared to what we've seen them before at Brentford, or not Brentford, at Bournemouth, and then, of course, at Brighton. So I would make the case individually, actually, that team Brentford put out might actually be better than ours, Artist T. So I'll make that point too before we start questioning De Zerbi. And it is your favorite thing, Artist T, to immediately go after the manager, it seems like, at any situation.
Yeah, look, Brentford couldn't even, Keith Andrews couldn't even outclass fucking Franco Postecoglou. Like, Postecoglou was in the league. Everyone didn't rate him, and he beat Brentford twice. I don't think it's a case they tactically outclassed us. It's just, you're looking at one club that's doing everything right, step by step, every single season, and another club that's trying to fucking chase back the glory days because of how much we got wrong.
Paul Markey, I'm telling you now, we will go nowhere. So as long as the Lange is longer here and is still involved, yeah, probably. I think we've seen pretty much everyone. DYT, good to see you in the house, but I think we've gotten to mostly everyone. Really appreciate Faz Radfire. Don't want to miss you. Good to have you, my friend. But let's get the show underway. We're getting things started off with the one and only Eugene. See what he has to say. Sorry for making you wait there, Eugene. The moment we get talking, we just get going.
Hey, boys. Good to be on, as always.
Good afternoon.
Do you want to take the quote that Paul Markey is talking about with De Zerbi there, where he did say we're not a team yet? Let me just read the quote quickly. You said that we are not a team yet for a lot of reasons. Before the game in the press conference, when you asked me, what is the target? We can fix the target when you become a team. Before becoming a team, we can't say what we can actually do.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, to be fair to De Zerbi, with all the new players coming in, the squad is still in flux. It's going to take a while for everything to come together. So, I mean, I think that's a fair quote. So we need to be patient with one game a week. I trust him to turn the ship around eventually. However, there are some red flags that I saw from the game that, unfortunately, in my opinion, might hamper us this whole season, if not in the future, which is my problem. So again, two things can be true. He is correct about what he said about the squad not, playing together and needs time to gel, which is fair. However, the red flags are there. Even with all the additions that can potentially come in, I saw some worrying signs in the game.
Should that starter lineup not have already been gelled though? Because Kinski was there for all of preseason, the majority of it. Van Hecke, came in for the last few games. Gray played all of preseason. Bergwald, Gallagher, Tamale, Richarlison, Mikey Moore, Matisse Tell. Should that team have not been a lot more gelled? I do understand what you're saying, but for me, that team played preseason more or less all together.
No, for sure. But if you look at our preseason, I don't know why we have to go to Australia, New Zealand every time. I mean, that sets us back. We don't play against any decent competition. We play 75-minute games, 2 games a day. It's just not a good way to get ready for the season. So yeah, it's a money grab, and it sets us back every single season, with the injuries and with us not being fit. And I agree with you. So from my perspective, I expected a bad game from our front three. As I was telling you guys before, every time I see Richarlison play and Gallagher play, a piece of me dies. I cannot do it. I cannot watch them play anymore. So I expected maybe one goal, if we're lucky.
Yeah.
And our midfield, Bergval is completely he's not good enough. So with our fitness issues, I'm like, okay, the midfield is going to struggle too. Tonali can't do everything by himself. But I figured that De Zerbi is going to adjust his tactics to account for who we're missing and who's playing, and two, that our back line is going to have a decent game and keep us in the game. So I predicted 1-1 or 2-1, right? However, the red flags for me were De Zerbi. How can you have two slow fullbacks with Robertson and Gray and push Van Hecke up and try to press, and our press was terrible as well. And that's why we're so wide open. We couldn't press, we couldn't get the ball back. Van Hecke was pushed up, and our fullbacks couldn't recover. Tactically, it was terrible tactics, right? That's one. Number two is Van Hecke and Senesi they look terrible, and not even positioning where you can say, well, they're not used to playing with each other. That for me is fine, right? But they were just so weak on the ball, weak in their own box, on set pieces, on corner kicks. Senesi was being ragdolled all game long. Van Hecke, his defensive stats were not good, and that's why I'm concerned about him and Porro on the right hand side when Porro is back. So honestly, when I look at this whole game, we know that our front three is going to be different. So for me, that's right off. Our midfield is going to get better, but the back line for me, I'm starting to get concerned, especially with no backup right back, because we all can see that Archie Gray is not a right back. If we don't bring in a backup and Senesi and Van Hecke, I'm starting to have some concerns.
You're absolutely spot on around the forward line. And the reality is, unless we fix that forward line, we're going to keep seeing these performances, because if you don't have the ability to be able to retain the ball, push teams back, the ball's going to keep coming one way every time if they have no fear of you. Yep. But to your point about Archie Gray, Do you think it's been De Zerbi's decision to keep him around? Because when you look at Archie Gray last year, didn't feature for De Zerbi at all when he walked in compared to the end of the season. Now all of a sudden he's in the captaincy squad. He was captain there at the weekend. He's been kept around as backup right back and stuff like that. Do you think that's the board enforcing? Look, you're keeping Archie Gray, even to an extent you're keeping Bergvall, because they're players that did not feature for him last year.
I don't think so. Like if the board would have forced De Zerbi to keep Archie Gray, I don't think he'd make him captain, right? Like in order for him to make Archie Gray captain, he has to think highly of him. So I think, and again, I still believe in Gray's potential. I think he's going to be a good player. My issue is that our managers are, have ruined him. Playing him in different positions, he's not right back. He's not pacey enough to play on the right. He needs to be a midfielder. And if we don't bring in a right back to back up Porro, and if De Zerbi is going to play Archie Gray on the right, he's going to ruin the kid's career. So for me, that's an issue. So I still think he rates him, but if he misprofiles him and plays him on the right, that's going to be an issue. With Bergvall, it's a bit different situation. It can be the board not accepting 50 million, which I would have, but again, he started Bergvall and he spoke highly of Bergvall. So we can have it both ways. I think De Zerbi is honest enough.
Around though, Eugene, and he knows they're not going anywhere. What is the point of coming out and lambasting them, if you know what I mean? I think this is that's sort of missed in modern day football. Like, I do get what you're saying. These quotes have come out his mouth, but it was like, we've had similar arguments around players with Jose, Conte, Ange, Frank, this, that, and the other. But there's also been a history of the club sort of sticking their oar in, like, with Sherwood years ago, being told to play Sadaldo over Harry Kane and stuff like that. And I just wonder, given that he didn't play them last season, he didn't rely on them whatsoever last season, and all of a sudden one's captain, one's thrown out there at the start of the weekend. And I just wonder how much of that is being influenced by the club. That's
fair. No, for sure.
Yeah.
I just think with De Zerbi, given his temperament, he's different from Ange or Frank. He's less political, right? If he is annoyed, if he is upset, like if he would say nothing about Gray Bergvall, then maybe his head is being forced. But De Zerbi actually coming out and saying some strong words about both of them, I don't think he'd do it if he at least didn't believe that they have future of the club. So I don't think he is the type of a guy who would actually, just say things for the sake of being for the sake of saying things. He'd just be quiet about him. So, I don't I was a defender of Bergvall, but I think Frank ruined him last season. I think Bergvall, we see same thing that happened to Sarr. Very promising his first season, and then just downhill from there, no improvement. And with Bergvall, he hasn't improved since his first season. So 50 million, we got to take that money and improve.
Fair. I know Jack has another question for you. I just want to take this quickly from Vinny Bryce. There's no chance De Zerbi will listen to the board on player selection. I don't mean in terms of player selection, but what I mean is in terms of being kept around. Archie Gray, I think, being forced into the sort of captain thing and stuff like that. I do think maybe there is a part on the board because, the two of them, if we go into Europe next year, the two of them become homegrown. And stuff like that. So I wonder how much of that is on the board. And if he's being told he has to keep them around and keep them part of a 21, 22-man squad, then naturally he's going to have to play them at some point. That's where I'm coming from on that one, Vinny. Jack, what do you want to press Eugene on next?
Just want to quickly take Paul Markey's super chat because he was saying I read this aloud wrong. By the way, Paul, sometimes I can be a bit of a Bergvall when it comes to things. He's saying, I'm telling you now, Dave, you read it since he said I read it wrong.
I'm telling you now, so long as Langatha Langer is involved, we will do nothing. Dave, read it. Jack does not get the language. To be honest, if you're asking the wrong person,
I'm an empty skull with blonde hair like Bergvall. I tried to read it that way, I think, the first time, Paul, but sorry that it didn't satisfy you. Thank you for the support, by the way, my man. Listen, someone mentioned a good comment there, Paul Markey, probably to your point that, what is it? every Langa young signing pretty much has taken or needed to take 3 to 5 seasons to embed into the team and be a regular first starter. Dave made the point of not Connor Gallagher, the opposite, Cole Palmer, settling into Chelsea pretty much straight away. You have to look at that with Langa. Every time that we sign these guys, they seem so raw and needing so much time in order to embed into the team. Like, you're even looking at the Young Min Hook or Kota Takai. They look nowhere close to ever getting into a Spurs team, or hate to say it, likes of Ashley Phillips, right? Never seemed to stand a chance to be able to get into the side. A lot of them maybe we've sold for profit, but to think about it this way, that's just empty money that we've spent on guys that we'll never actually see in a Spurs shirt. It's huge question marks about his recruitment, but I was told that he was cooking by Ali
Yeah,
Gold this
exactly.
summer.
I was
Guys,
about to say, let's be balanced. Like, everybody's jumping around. There is a parade because we're signing Savio, Marmoush, and maybe Gakpo. So, like, you know, uh, Langa is obviously an issue, but it's not just him. It's our scouting as a whole. I don't think he just sits there and watches film all day, right? Scouts to bring in players, and it's him, but it's also our whole network. Just the players
yeah.
that we're bringing in, our scouting is terrible. So it's more than just one person.
I think Eugene's right there. I think there's fair question to say, you look at the data-driven model and the way it was being used before for, it wasn't based on technicality. It was based on how far you could sprint up the pitch, and stuff like that. There's fair questions to ask. Are we using the data-led model correct? And, when you look at what Brentford and especially Brighton keep producing, I think there's a fair argument to say no. However, this guy is the definition of fucking incompetent. He is a loser. He's useless at his job. He got sacked out of Villa because he couldn't bring in the right players that they needed to be able to kick on. He's come to Tottenham. And Tottenham have had, two 17th place finishes under his recruitment and stuff like that. I mean, it's a damn indictment of the guy. He does not know how to build a squad. The fact that we have to bring in Raphael Morrison to go and negotiate deals, that's part of his remit. The fact that De Zerbi is highlighting the players that we need to go and bring in this summer, that's part of his remit. So my question is, what does he actually do? I feel like, the boys turn up for the meeting, they go to negotiate, and as they get to the door, they turn around to Lang and go and get the sandwiches and tea and get the room ready. We'll come down after we've got the deal done. He's an absolute loser. Get him out of my football club. I'm sick of this guy being protected. And look, I have no issues with Ali Gold. Let me say that. But when you're out on tour and you're eating prawns, doing Lady in the Tramp style with Ledley King and stuff like that, I would say there's a fair point. There's people in your ear maybe giving Lang PR is what I'm trying to say. Good PR.
Well said.
Both him and Vinay have to go. I mean, but like since Paul Mitchell, since he left, we haven't had good scouting and recruitment. It's been going downhill since. So
Yeah.
it's Lang, like it's everybody. We just need to make better appointments. We need somebody at the club who knows football, who knows how to hire talented individuals, and it just seems like nobody does. So,
Eugene, time's already flying by. So, is there another? I know you were talking about Van Hecke in the back end. Maybe finish on that, or
yeah, no,
another
just
topic?
yeah, like Van Hecke, everybody was super excited. Look, I'm gonna be honest. I criticized Romero the whole last season before. He wasn't good enough. Van Hecke, he's great on the ball, but his defensive stats from last season were not great. I think he was dribble past the most out of anybody in the Prem, if I'm correct, or something similar. So my hope is that him and Van der Ven have a good relationship where Van der Ven can cover for him, but Van Heck and Poro on the right hand side is going to be an issue for us all season long. And what concerned me the most is him and Senesi being so soft, like they were bullied at the back. Which for me, again, the tactics you can adjust, the players can play better together, they can gel, but being soft in the Prem is unacceptable. So I really hope that this was just a one-off, but it's a red flag for me.
Yeah, for sure. They were surprisingly weak against Brentford. Absolutely surprised me. I think we were doing the post-match breakdown. What is it, Jack? You said he won 2 headers out of 7?
2 out of 8 aerial duels won.
I mean,
yeah.
What baffles me is Brentford are going to be physical in the air and none of them players are ready to go and compete. But half the problem is, how many times were Brentford players up in the air while our players rooted to the ground?
Not even jumping.
Rooted to the ground. Haven't even competed. That's what pisses me off.
Exactly. And that's the thing about the Prem, right? Every team, especially like the non-big six clubs, they have big, strong, physical players. That's how they win games. And if we got to win those games to finish in Europe, we cannot be soft. We need some dogs out there. And we've been soft for the last few seasons. Romero wasn't soft. He was just undisciplined, right? We need somebody who's disciplined.
Wasn't he? He's probably like,
yeah, exactly. He was too much wound up. We need somebody who's not soft, who's willing to fight, but be smart about it. Yeah. And I have my concerns about our back line. So let's hope that they can figure it out. But,
it's always that hope.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Eugene, as the pro that you are, I blinked and it felt like already 13, 14 minutes went by. That's
Thanks,
pretty
boys.
impressive. So well done. And
Eugene,
hope to have
thank you very much.
Hope to have you back very, very soon.
I enjoyed that, my man. Good comments.
Thanks for getting us started.
Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
You too.
See you, Eugene.
See you.
I do also love his comments about sometimes watching certain players he says isn't good for my health. I do talk about that too, like with for Charleston's, the Bergvalls, and the Gallaghers of the world, if not more. But we'll keep this show moving. Thank you, Faz Radfar, for the support. De Zerbi needs 2 seasons, but Enoch can't be blamed anymore.
Yeah, this is the thing. If it doesn't go right for De Zerbi, how much blame can you actually put on the Lewis family heading in with the money they've spent? The fact that they've acquired his targets and stuff like that. There is a fair argument to say you can't really, like, if this one doesn't work out, you can't actually really put that one on them. Well, and because, like, usually when you sack managers before, a lot of the debate is, sure, if you don't give them the players what do you want them to do, how do you expect them to execute your system? But we've taken that excuse off the table this time around. So, if it doesn't work out, I think it just comes down to De Zerbi just being pissed off with maybe how long it's taken to get in some of these transfers, especially in the forward areas and stuff like that. And he just can't get over it, because, like, if I've saved the club from relegation and I've gone in and I've said, look, these are the areas and I need them in, before the start of the season, and I'm still sitting here with the season underway and I'm still waiting on 2-3 players that are going to really make a difference to my system in terms of in the forward areas, you best believe I'm going to feel slighted considering what I've done the season before and stuff like that. And that's my worry with De Zerbi, with the likes of Conte and Jose. When they feel like that, it's almost hard to bring them back around. And I think De Zerbi's the same sort of character to a certain degree. I just hope he remains calm, and we can just pull ourselves out of this. Because I do think Roberto De Zerbi is a brilliant manager. I think he's a good coach and stuff like that. It seems to be the Tottenham curse, doesn't it?
Could also make the case that the preseason tour is probably more the planning of whoever's in charge of that.
That's the club.
That's the club. But I agree that it's more of a mixed bag maybe this time. More of a mixed bag than it being solely on one side. Fair comment there, Faz Radfar. Fair comment. I really appreciate the support, my friend.
Big up Faz. Faz coming in with talking points. Usually just comes in with I love the channel. Big up Faz. I like that.
Let's come in to our next guest, which I believe is going to be Daniel.
Bring him in. Afternoon, sir.
Mr. Larson.
Hello. How are you guys?
Are you pressing the panic alarm at all, Daniel?
Well, me always, because I'm the most reactionary twat out there. So I'm going to be the most, so I'm already panic. But no, you can't really. But that was one hell of a bad game.
Let's start with who you blame for that performance, because looking around, some are blaming De Zerbi, some are blaming the players. Where do you attribute the blame?
Well, I think it's both. It goes both ways. I think the lineup was completely wrong. I think the midfield was completely awful. I mean, Bergwall, I don't know what disease in him. I know there's injuries and all that, but how can he? What does he see in him? There's nothing. Absolutely nothing. Conor Gallagher as well. Completely awful. Then, of course, Tonali as well. I mean, we haven't talked about Tonali, but that was one of the worst debuts I've ever seen, I gotta say. That was awful.
From all the new guys.
With with Tonali, though, it does show that how two bang average players can really bring down the quality of someone else that actually possesses a bit.
Yeah, of course it's true, but I just think like he didn't look up once. His head was on the ground all the time. When he passed, he didn't look up. He was just on the ground, one touch passing. He didn't look. He didn't search the field or anything. Just panic passing. He felt like.
Do you think we looked a bit better with Fernandez and Bentancur when they came on?
Yes, we did, but that's also because when you're 2-0 down and then 3-0 down, of course we're gonna look better. They're gonna like drop off, So, but of course they're better players. We all know that. But yeah, Fernandez is the one that he does look like a player. To be fair, he does really look comfortable on the ball and all that.
Just going to put someone in timeout for calling us MFers, and also he absolutely shags Richarlison on any opportunity he gets, so I don't know how we lack the ball knowledge if Richarlison's your favorite guy. This is coming from a guy who has defended Richarlison, but for him to be your favorite player to defend on repeat is a bit questionable. Sorry, Dave, you were about to ask a question.
Oh, while we're talking about Lucas Bergvall, Daniel, I want to read out the quotes here from De Zerbi on him. I think it was important for Lucas Bergvall to start. I knew before the game Lucas might suffer in a game like this, more than Rodrigo Bentancur, who is older, but it is important for the future of the club and the direction in which we're working. Lucas Bergvall, the second goal, I think he didn't play bad, even if I substituted at halftime. But Lucas in the next 2 years, he will not lose that ball in that moment of the game. There are steps to become better. I wonder if De Zerbi watched his previous 3 years. I don't think he would have made that part of the quote if he did. Look, we've seen Lucas Bergvall lose the ball, unnecessarily multiple times before that have led to goals, that we've conceded. Has he made the same mistake time and time again? He has made the same mistake time and time again. Can we really trust him to learn from them? And I think that's the big thing going forward, because in order to get more minutes like that, you have to earn the trust. If you keep doing shit like that on the pitch, don't go knocking on the manager's door and ask why you're not playing.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when he's been all summer being like, I don't want to be here, I need game time, I need to play in one position. And now he's getting the chance of course, I mean, he's got the manager's trust, obviously. So you got to repay him, and then you go out performing like you've done all your Spurs career. Like
Yeah. Does he have the manager's trust, though, or was De Zerbi's sort of hands tied here? Because let's talk. Tottenham says, so who plays instead of Bergvall then? Bentancur, Fernandez, and Maddison were not fit to start. So is it a case we're just reading too much into it that he doesn't actually trust them? And I would go by the fact that he said he knew he would struggle. How much trust is really in the kid?
Well, that's time will tell. End of the day with that.
But this is me personally. Point, though. Was his hands tied in terms of the Bergvall selection, or is it a case, he likes the kid? Because, I have seen a lot of reaction towards De Zerbi and anger towards the team selection, but, we all know that a lot of our players are struggling to get back.
Well, of course he rates. I mean, he's got to be. He wants him to stay. He begged him to stay. Well, not begged him to stay probably, but he was like, "You got to stay." I mean, you have to be here. He feels like it's special. I mean, they never come out saying that, but that's what it definitely feels like, Or we would have sold them. And we got offered how much? 50, 60 million for him? How in the bloody hell don't you accept that? You're never going to get offered that again if it doesn't improve. Absolutely mental. And we're known to...
Sorry, I was going to say, it reminds me of the time when United came in for 50 million for Eric Dyer and we knocked it back. Look how well that one turned out.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those. And we're known to be bad at selling, of course. I mean, we undersell all the time, in my opinion. That's another story. I mean, some people think that and that, but in my opinion, we undersell, of course. And then you get offered, even though he's young, but what is special about him? I'm sorry, what does he do? He runs around and losing the ball. That's what he do. I'm baffled. And it's nothing against it. I mean, I want him to be the best midfielder. I want him to be absolutely one of the best we've seen for this club. But it's just not going to happen.
Like my whole point is why they shouldn't be here. Him and Archie Gray. They played nearly 100 games each for Tottenham Hotspur at a young age. You know, minutes that like Mikey Moore, Will Lancashire, for instance, would have killed, given them opportunities and stuff like that. Borgval especially is just not good enough in midfield. Part of the remit in midfield is you can't lose the ball. You've got to be smarter. Like if you're receiving the ball and there's pressure on you, you should already know where you're putting that off to rather than take the chances that he does. It absolutely winds me up. Most part of the remit in midfield is you cannot lose the ball, and this guy just loses it time. And he doesn't just lose it; he loses it on the edge of the box all the fucking time. I'm sick of it.
Jesus Christ!
You know, I could pull out plenty of examples. Newcastle, you know, he done it, which led to us being defeated. Brighton, Wolves, and they're just off the top of the head. I can go back and pull out another 6-7 games if people want me to. It's madness. I'm sick of it.
Do you agree with
another useless trope as well?
Yeah, I forgot about him.
Interesting question on Mikey Moore, Daniel. Just want to ask it. Let's say he did take a couple of those chances. Do you think we potentially could have turned things around and gotten back into the game, or do you think we were always going to lose that?
I think we were going to lose that either way. To be honest, I think they probably would have scored more if we scored one. They probably would have scored again. I just think we were, you know, going to lose that. We outplayed out completely out.
Yeah,
in every area of the pitch.
Yeah,
but
just felt like asking it for momentum change. But yeah, I do agree with you.
Yeah.
Do you agree with Andrew here, Daniel? He's basically saying, I understand the negativity, using kind of summarizing, but he's saying we don't have really our full 11 yet. Do you kind of agree with that take? That once we see the full 11, Kudu's coming back. Let's say Savinho comes into the team, Bentancur, Fernandez get back into the team, Madison comes back in. We'll see a much better Spurs. Do you agree with that?
Well, you definitely hope so, and I definitely think so. I mean, but again, if we got Savinho and Mamouche hopefully coming out through the door now, they're gonna need a little bit of time as well. Hopefully not as much. But Bentancur and Fernandez would Tonali is the best midfield. Madison, of course, but Madison as well. What's going on there? I mean, he's injured twice a week.
Isn't he injured again? Didn't he pick up an
again
or something like that?
Well, so it's just you can't trust him as well. But of course, yeah, it's crazy. But the thing, I wouldn't call it negativity for me. I mean, but it's more like frustration for me. That's more. Yeah. I wouldn't say. I don't want to be. Yeah, exactly.
In 3 weeks' time, it could certainly turn to negativity.
Yeah, of course, you could definitely. Me. But right now, it's like I was so excited for the season. So excited for the season, and then just seeing that shit, like we didn't end the season look like, So that's more. But I understand the comment as well. Yeah,
can't get any worse. That's not even cold. That's probably fair. Let's talk about. This is an interesting quote that came out, Daniel. I'm not sure if you're aware of him, but he's on American commentary a lot. Graham Lasso, former Chelsea man, and I would say full-time Spurs hater. He did have an interesting quote that I wonder if you would agree with. He's saying that there's an excuse culture at the club. No one takes accountability at Spurs. No one is honest with each other. No one calls each other out. Every player on the pitch looks like a luxury player, he said, unwilling to do the hard yards, the exact opposite of Brentford's players. Yep. Do you think he's actually making a decent point?
That's a really good quote there, because I still think, we're too nice with each other. I think there's too many nice guys, too many buddies. You can be a buddy, but come on, you got to be a professional as well on the pitch, and then you can joke afterwards if you've done a good job. But it's still that, and I just don't think that's ever going to disappear now. I mean, we said this since the universe existed. I think Spurs. So that's sad, but that's really good quote. Yeah, I agree, definitely.
I like the part that he said the exact opposite of Brentford's players, because Brentford's players, battling for everything, pushing us in the back, being a bit nasty, I would say at times with us, being physical from the off. Yeah. And willing to do the hard yards for each other. You would say that even during Thomas Frank's era, no matter how terrible his football was, they were a team that works for each other. There are no selfish individuals on the side. I think it's a very fair point from Graham Lasso. And a lot of people in the comments are like, oh, he's a Spurs hater. Like, don't take him seriously. I'm like, well, I think even if he is a Spurs hater, I think it's actually an apt point.
It's always been the key. It's always been the key to Brentford's survival in the Premier League.
Well, so
they wouldn't survive without that. You look at Tottenham. I'm not being funny. Do you ever see Brentford's players at the darts, stuff like that, at movie premieres? Do you see any of their players on YouTube showing off their hair, flicking it around the place, and stuff like that? Do you see any of their players popping up in windows, trying to pull faces and stuff? I don't. But for some reason, when I highlight at Tottenham, it's Dave, you're being mean. They got to live this, that, and the other. I'm fucking sick of it. If you want to win and you want to be successful, it takes great sacrifice. And that's one thing people really need to understand. Billionaires, they sacrifice time with their family, friends, etc., to be in the position they are. Great sacrifice. Or winning.
No victory.
Takes great sacrifice. And we do not want to sacrifice at Tottenham. The minute the going gets tough, the board want to hide. The players want to hide. The coaches want to hide. And I'm fucking sick of it. There is an excuse culture at Tottenham Hotspur. And the biggest ones that make the excuse for a lot of these babies is us, the fans. And we're all guilty of it. We all pick out a player and defend them, this, that, and the other, rather than just go, do you know what? Based on what we've seen, he's fucking shit. Sometimes it can be as simple as that. But we always have to go around the houses. But what if this and what if that? I'm sick of it. At Tottenham, people need to start being held accountable. When we shell goal after goal after goal, all I see is people's heads drop. I don't see anyone communicating to try and sort it out so it doesn't happen again. I don't see anyone screaming at someone to make them accountable or stuff like that. I don't see any of it, and I'm absolutely fed up with it. He's absolutely spot on. I'm not a big fan of Graham Lasso because he played for Chelsea, but just because of the rivalry, I'm not just going to sit there and say he's a mouthpiece. He's absolutely right.
And also now the most hilarious thing is we got 5 captains now. What's the point of that?
That's another load of bollocks, this whole fucking modern day captaincy. Captain, vice captain, 2 vices plus the manager. That's all you need. Once you start bringing in 4, 5, 6 people. Also, how many coaches are now coming in on this and stuff? Too many cooks spoil the broth. Have they never heard of that saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know that one, Dan. You're a chef.
Yes. And also, of course, people blaming Archie Gray for the captaincy. He's too young to be a leader. That's wrong. That's the wrong saying. I've been bosses for people twice my age for almost my whole life. It's about being a good leader. It's about being, if you are a leader, you are a leader from whatever age, So he's just not a good leader at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's not his age. Fair point.
Yeah,
fair point.
It's not the age. It's just he's not the leader.
Yeah.
Well said, actually, Daniel. Any last points that you want to make before we let you go? Kinski, any question marks about Kinski? That's another question, maybe.
Yeah, of course. I'm a little bit of a Kinski defender, of course, but I think the first goal he could have done, he should have done better. I mean, that's not excusable at Perry, but the second goal, I think he made a good save. I don't think he could have done more there, but he does have a little bit of still shaky moments, but but I still think he's good. He's good.
Still
enough.
believe in him.
Well, not good enough, but I think he's going to be fine. Still, but that could change, of course. And also on Hecke, I want to say that was also one of the worst debuts. God, he looked like he was afraid of the ball. He's like he'd never seen a football before. He looked, what is that thing? He got bullied by Thiago, completely bullied. Jesus. So that's worrying, gotta say. And Senesi he was a little bit better, but again, that was nothing special. God, he looked like
I've seen Dragic have better games than Van Hecke in that. And I don't rate Dragic at all.
No, of course, I know that.
But that's how bad Van Hecke was.
So yeah, it wasn't too many. I mean, if I could do like minus, you do player ratings, and you go minus on everyone. You do minus from -1 to 10. That's what I want to do. To be fair,
worse than 0. Like contributed less than nothing. Hurt the team more than even helping. I agree. Well, Daniel.
And Richie as well. I agree with. Sorry, I agree with Eugene. I can't do Richie anymore. I want to cry. I generally cry almost when I see him try to control a ball, try to do anything. it's just so sad that we will. I just hope that Mamouche, if he comes in, just stays fit, so I don't have to see him.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are with you. I think you're probably like Eugene saying your health can't take it anymore watching some of these players.
Jesus.
Well, Daniel, thanks as always. Thanks for being patient, and hope to see you next week with a win this time to discuss,
hopefully
please.
we can do something.
I don't want to go through this season just talking loss after loss, please.
Can't do another season like this. It's just crazy. You can't.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be allowed to. We're a fucking huge club. Come on now. God damn it.
Can't be doing this 3 seasons in a row, please.
Nope.
Alrighty, Daniel. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Appreciate you having on.
Take care, guys.
See you next time.
Good evening, Daniel.
Have a good night, guys. Bye-bye.
Have a good night, man. Liked his point about Archie Gray actually being, everyone says he's going to be future captain, but Daniel's right by saying, yes, like there could be some immaturity there or whatever, but you can almost tell a leader no matter what their age is. It's just their demeanor, the sort of tonality that they might have with how they speak or how they come across. I kind of agree with that point. Well said, actually, on that. Didn't think about it that way. Because everyone's saying he'll eventually be that way. It's like, well, maybe he has to show the signs of it from already a young age.
We can't wait for eventually. It needs to be now. We need someone to step up in that role now. I'm not being funny. But if you go back and look at Maddison's video and how much of a kid he's been, you know, in and around the training complex and stuff like that, popping up, pulling faces. How on earth is that guy your captain? How on earth is he your captain on the opening day of the season? And we wonder why we're a fast. We wonder why we're being made a show of. You know, look, the kid is not ready. He should be nowhere near the captaincy whatsoever. It's mind-boggling. You know, I heard this for years with Skip, a future Tottenham captain. He's not even captain of Leicester City down in League One anymore. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear it. You need Robertson, you know, senior member, been there, done it, in big dressing rooms with big egos. Give him the fucking captaincy armband there at the weekend. That's what should have happened.
Davey Shire, thank you for the longevity of support, especially as an elite member. Saying good day, Davey, Jack, and your guests. Here we go again. Let's hope it's just a really, really bad start, David. I did joke that we've always had great starts and then terrible ends to the season often. Maybe it's the other way around. That's what I hope. Maybe it's a different script this time around. And also, I'm sorry for the loss in the family as well. Thanks for coming on. Hopefully we're a good distraction, but thanks for supporting us, my friend.
That's not an easy one, losing a parent, my man. I do feel for you. I do, my man.
Really sorry. But thanks for joining us, my man. Hopefully everything's still all right. Up pretty late. So hopefully we're helping you fall asleep or keeping you up if you want to stay up. Big up to you, Davey Shire.
Good to see you. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man.
Next we have, I believe it's, just making sure, Jerome. Then Chopped Cheese, and then Ryan, and then Stefan. And then if anyone else is planning on coming on, feel free to do so. Jerome.
Good afternoon, sir. How are we?
Nuts. How are you both?
Hanging in there. Are you pressing a panic alarm, Jerome?
You know what? Tottenham, eh? Always. Look, pretty much in terms of that, I would say, let's just hope we just have a bad start. And then after that, it gets better. Because usually we start good, and then it starts crumbling down, and we are pretty shit. But we start to shit, so hopefully after that, it's onwards after this. So that's all I can say in terms of this one. It's just like, it did look like we were like, you know, when we were like completely depleted, like at the end of the season, of last season, completely depleted. So many players on the bench, a lot of players not starting, and you have kids. And that's what it felt like. I was like, as soon as I saw that lineup, the only thing I could think was, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good at all. And yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't good. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? We just need to see what's going to happen when players going to come. We're going to get our starting 11 coming back. But yeah.
Do you trust the Zerbi? Do you trust the Zerbi that's going to get better?
Yeah, it is. It is going to get better. Trust me, it will get better. The guy who knows what he needs to do. It's just the club. It's always the manager. I don't have a problem with. It's the club that I have an issue with. The club, for some reason, doesn't know how to recognize talent, pure talent. The thing is, you let Vuskovic go. Happy to sell Vuskovic for 60.
Had a good game at the weekend, by the way.
Yep. 90% of aerial battles he won. So just said, it's all right. You sell him. But we don't want to sell Bergvall. We want to keep Bergvall. Why? Well, God knows. Poster boy. He's just a poster boy. Good-looking kid, blonde hair, blue eyes, good-looking, good for taking pictures, and when you have a new kid on, put him
Good
first.
pictures. Good,
very good pictures, very good. Every time he put the new kid on, so maybe you get the female supporter to go and go like, yeah, let's go and buy the kid. Bergvall is wearing the kid. Good-looking kid, But what are you gonna do? Because with Bergvall, it's always the same mistake. I have not seen any improvement. I have not seen anything better with him. Under Ange, same problem. Under Frank, same problem. Under De Zerbi, same problem. Come on, man. You lose the ball every single time. You run like a headless chicken, you lose the ball. And every time there's a huge gap when you lose the ball, and then we went score. It's the same thing. I've seen this over and over again. And I said, this kid is always making a mistake. Maybe he will learn. He hasn't learned. 3 seasons down the road, 3 different managers, you still haven't.
That's my point when it comes to the kid. He's had about, I think, 80 games, senior games for Tottenham Hotspur, and he hasn't learned, and that's my big concern. I wonder, does the guy understand what people are saying to him and understand tactics and stuff like that? But Jerome, I am conscious when we get into the Bergvall talk that so far Gallagher tonight has evaded a lot of criticism. I do think people forget he is the senior midfielder out of the two. He was also hauled off at halftime.
Yeah.
Jack famously said in the watch along, he's had more touches of his hairband than he has the football, and he was correct.
Yeah. Like I told you, I can't. This guy, pre-season, horrible. Last season, horrible. I did not want him to start against Brentford. For me, it should have been Sarr. And again, Sarr got knocked, and now it's going to be sold. So, what are you going to do? I knew that guy he's not supposed to start against Brentford. He's not a 10. He can't play number 10. Only thing he can think of is going backwards. And what he's done, what those two has done, has literally killed down the confidence of Tonali. All you could see was Tonali was just like, who do I pass the ball to? Who do I pass the ball to? Every time he's passing the ball, they are so far away from him. Somebody gets the ball away from him. Tell was so far away. He was like, come on, come get the ball. Tonali passes it. Loses the ball. And then everybody's going to go, 90 million. Tonali, shit.
That little weasel Gallagher didn't show up for the ball once. If the ball's not coming, it's up to you to drop into pockets to receive it. And that little weasel stood hiding.
Yeah, did not come for the ball once. And every time he got the ball, pass it back. That's like, what is the point? You're meant to create. You're meant to do something. You're number 10. You're meant to do something. You're absolutely robbing this club out of wages for paying you 200k a week for doing this. Absolutely unbelievable. And I cannot believe we have this guy here.
Just on your point with Papamata Sarr, it's got me thinking. It does make me question what's going on there in terms of outgoings, because although Sarr hasn't, been a game changer in a Tottenham jersey, I think it's fair to say he's had more impacts on games and produced more than what a Bergvall or an Archie Gray has in the games that they've been given. And I just wonder, it confuses me how we've stumbled upon selling him over someone who actually gives away the ball that ends up in the back of the net routinely. Even Gallagher, I just question how we've stumbled across selling this guy.
Yeah, but everybody keeps telling me Sarr is not good enough. Sarr is not this. Sarr has now stalled. It's the same as Bergvall. Is not as good as nothing. But people, every time I say we have such short memory about the player that we think are not good, because under Ange, the first 10 games, if we go back, right, the first 10 games, who was destroying people in the midfield for the first 10 games? It was Sarr and Bissouma. They were unplayable in the first 10 games. Moving forward, we go to Bilbao. Bilbao, we'll never forget Bilbao, right? But every time we're going, Johnson, ole, again, ole, right? But who gave him the assist to score that goal? Papamata Sarr. gave him the assist. All right. So let's just make sure we give the kid what he needs. All right, because he is actual talent. The kid was an actual talent. Under Frank, when he started, he's the one that was scoring. He had a very good start of the season, but for some reason, Frank didn't like that. Had to put poster boy, and then ghosted Salah. Completely ghosted the kid. And when he came in on the pitch, scored, the smile was gone out of his face. From that game, I thought, that is it. This kid's he's not happy anymore. Smile gone, nothing. And after that, disappear. Can't see him at all. Doesn't play. But everybody says, so he's not good enough. He's the same as Bergvall, not good enough, and blah, blah, blah. That's why I say this club doesn't know how to recognize talent, pure talent. But we are happy to sell them, but we are happy to keep poster kids. Archie Gray, Bergvall, both of them. Happy to be just Archie Gray, social media, always on social media and things like that. But people that work hard, but you don't really see them on social media and things like that. We're happy to sell them. Happy. And if the kid said he wanted to leave, the first thing they should have done is say, you want to leave? Go. Paulinho, you come in. We should have got a Paulinho. And I've said it so many times. That back four needs cover. And it needed someone like a Paulinho to cover and disrupt all of them. You see what happened to us? You see what happened to us with Brentford? They had a number 6, but disrupted all of their play and then just went, go on, and pushed the ball forward and let them play. That kid Sangara just run circle around us. I mean, like, come on, man. How you would need to see, you need a number 6, a proper number 6, a proper CDM to stop them, to stop this kind of play and just disrupt everything. And Paulinho was the perfect person to be there. And what did the club say? Nah, we got Fernandez, we got Tonali, don't need that now. I'm pretty sure De Zerbi said we needed him. I guarantee you, because De Zerbi said he's an important player, he should have been there. But he's not there, Nothing we can do about that. But
I just look at that game again on the weekend, and I just think Smith for Papamassar, energy, can get up and down quick. Battles away, decent on the ball, better than Bergvall and Gallagher are on the ball anyway. I don't understand it. Kieran, it's rumored that Madison fell awkwardly on his shoulder in the game. And,
he's got enough.
That's why I've now nicknamed him Madaglass. I'm not being nice to the guy anymore. I've tried, but I've seen too many times at Tottenham Hotspur where I just don't think this guy gives a shit. I always speak about, making sure your life is right off the field so that you can stay on the field as much as you can. This guy's at darts, playing snooker on YouTube channels. People tell me it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. And the guy's barely played in 2 years. Work that one out. I'm fucking fed up with it. Take the guy away from all of that shit and get him to focus on his bloody football. I'm sick of it. I'm absolutely sick of it when it comes to Madaglass. I'm fed up with him.
Golf injury.
He's one of the most protected players at this football club. And no one links maybe his lifestyle outside on maybe half of the reason why he's always fucking injured.
Yeah. Look, we need, like Lascelles said, we do need to take accountability. In this club, there's no accountability. Players need to take accountability with themselves. He's right. As much as people say he's hating on Tottenham and everything, he is right. There's no accountability in this club. And where we need to be putting things is, it's not just about business. It's about how we want to play with this club, how we want to play, what we want to do. It's like, come on. If people want to leave, let them leave, but bring talent. Find things but to say what the manager will know. Senesi, Robertson, look, he's all right, but Senesi, that's a club signing. All right? We were already had an agreement with him before we brought De Zerbi. So that's a club signing. So that's fine. That's not an issue at all. But you need to make sure that you bring people. If you want to bring go and scout properly. Go and find young, proper talent. Saar was a proper talent found by the Don. He did find that, and we all said he was a proper talent, and he is. But now we don't want to recognize that, and we're going to say so. What we're going to do is this club is just the way they are. It's just the way they are. It's for them. It's business. Each player is a business proposal. So if you want to keep Bergwijn, that means you keep Bergwijn, you keep Archie Gray. Those are for business purpose, not for the football. Min Hyuk, that's for our Korean fans. That's for them. They are keeping him just to have business in Korea, just to still make sure that we have like a Korean hand in there. So at least we don't lose that fan base. I mean, like, it's ridiculous, man. Everything about them is about business. But again, let's not be too negative right now. It's just the start of the season. What I do is I trust in De Zerbi. Getting players that are going to come. It will take time for us. It will take time for us to get where we need to be. But if he can get that team to gel, and we get players coming back like Kudus, Kulu, and look, with Poro, I'm sorry, Yamal played, Fernan Torres played. Most of the Spanish players in the Spanish, most of them started they started their season already. You telling me Poro could not have started? Poro could start without preseason. Fernan Torres, Yamal, none of them had preseason. They started. So what's the big issue? They can start. He can start, right? So he should be able to be okay to start because he's already had plenty of games, plenty of things during the World Cup, and for him to say, I can start. No need for him to be saying to be hard, and because he doesn't have game time, he should have been able to start. But anyway, that's something else. But he needs to be starting again because Archie Gray, not a right back. But the right back situation, we're gonna have to leave that to January because we need a second right back. But we'll see what happens. But
you know what, Jerome? As much as I don't get involved in the hype with Archie Gray. I remember putting out a video 3 years ago when we signed him saying, look, you're going to have to tamper your expectations with this kid. And I think I had 1,000 comments underneath. The most commented video, people telling me how wrong I was. But I am going to make a fair excuse to Archie Gray on this one. He wasn't helped. Bergwijn, he was playing on the right-hand side of midfield. Part of his job is to get over and help. Mikey Moore didn't track back once. Archie Gray was isolated time and time again with Shada and Lewis Potter. Just overload them every single time. They didn't get any help. Unless we, what we need is you get in one of the experienced midfielders, Fernandes and Bentancur. That might help alleviate it. But one of your big problems is we do need to sort out that right-wing issue because if we don't, Poro's going to come in and he's going to be exposed time and time again as well.
It will. That's why I said we need that proper number 6. And hopefully when Fernandes is fully game fit, he should be able to protect them and things like that. But let's see. Because again, when he came on, when Bentancur came on, the game was flowing a little bit more better. All right? Yeah. We saw it. And again, somebody else apart from Mikey Moore, out of the 3, they would score 2. All right? Because those are clear-cut chances. A proper player would score those. I don't know what happened to Mikey Moore because he should have been able to at least score 1. Unbelievable he didn't score that because those were like clear-cut chances. But again, not gonna say much. They are kids, right? They are kids. We can't say much about it. It was a really bad day at the office. But let's see. Let's see what happens when we get all of those players in, when they gel. But like De Zerbi said, when we click and we play as a team, this team is going to be very difficult for everybody. So let's hope. But the only thing I'm hoping is Romero's upgrade, Van Hecker. Let's just hope that was just in one game. A really one bad game because, man, we are going to have a real problem at this right hand side, because Poro and him, if he can't jump, we're going to have a really tough time. He needs to do better than that. But yeah, I'm just going to give him the benefit of the doubt for this time. It was just a really, really bad game. But hopefully he gets himself together when he gets Van de Ven. Yeah.
He's going to be one I'm going to monitor very closely, though, because I had everyone telling me he's going to be an upgrade, and I did warn, be careful what you wish for, and look, Van Heck was absolutely atrocious. I'm hoping it's just first game jitters and the guy can come good. Yeah. But, defensively, I didn't see a lot the likes of winning headers in the air, stuff like that, making tackles. I didn't see a lot that for me to get behind moving forward. But, Jerome, another good call. I think the message today is patience, which is not a bad message.
Yeah, no, that's what we need. We need patience. And again, to me, when I see the full 11 with all the players that are coming, right, the full starting 11 with all our players here, this is when I will judge De Zerbi. Right now, that team that he put up was going to get battered. Seriously. We were expecting. I did not expect us to win there against Brentford with this team that he put up. But let's see when we get all of those, and hopefully we can get Gakpo as well. Then we'll see how things go. But
looks like Man City's hijacking the Gakpo move. They're putting in a bit.
So much to talk about.
Talk with the camp, but let's see what
all right, Jerome. Thank you as always, sir. Great call.
All right, no worries. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you, man.
Bye.
Good to see you, Jerome. Thank you very much for your
buddy.
time.
Yeah.
Another really good call. Really enjoyed that. Really enjoy chatting shit with Jerome, actually. So I do.
And I just want to say, call's been flying by today. Every time I'm checking the time, I'm amazed how much time has already passed. You guys are absolutely killing it. Lots of regulars, though, so I'm not surprised. You guys know how to do it, but very, very good conversation so far. So anyone that's enjoying it, please, everybody, give them their credit in the chat. Feel free to do so. And then Davey Shire, thanks for spreading the love. Thanks for giving out a membership. Went to Shogun Assassin. Great name. Davey Shire. Hopefully everything's good with you.
Not the dancer, the Aussie dancer, the break dancer. Shogun.
Could be that. Shogun is like it's like a samurai reference, basically. With like a feudal Japan, if I'm going to be a nerd. Okay. But love the name. Thank you, Davey Shire. Really appreciate it. Leighton Evelyn, favorite happy clapper. How you doing? Good to see you in the house.
Good to see you, Leighton.
Let's bring on Chopped Cheese, who's been very patient.
Good afternoon, sir. Oh, you're on mute, my man.
Rookie mistake.
No.
Is that one of them Sunny t-shirts from the club shop?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, yeah, come on, man. Come on, man. Legend.
I like
Chopped.
it. I like it.
Did not go well, man. What happened?
All right. I'm going to tell you what happened. You ready for this?
Let's go.
Okay. Probably the thing that infuriates me the most at Tottenham Hotspur, besides for losing, is that we go into the season every single year unprepared. If we're going to get Savinho and we're going to get Marmoush, why can we not have him here for week 1? Why do we need to wait for signings to come in so that we can embed them into the preseason, so that they could get used to being a Spur, so that we could actually hit the season running? Instead, we have to go into the Brentford game with Mikey Moore on the right, which is not ideal. I like Mikey Moore, you know this, but should he be starting Premier League games for us? No. Should he be developed into a future player for us? Yes. So we don't have Savinho in, we don't have Marmoush in. We go in with the same 3 that we had last year, if not worse, because Kudus is injured, like I just said, and Moore is playing. So you got Moore, you got Richie, and you got Tell. And we just reeked a team that was just not ready. And then once the game started, we looked out of shape real fast. Why we're not in physical condition yet is beyond me. We're flying halfway around the world for preseason to appease, our world fan base. But, nothing would be more appeasing than winning, guys. How about you just win? You will get more fans if you actually win consistently and, focus on football. So, yeah, I would say that is part of the reason why we did not perform on Saturday. But also, this is what I will say. How about this for a little fun stat? Gray and Bergvall, in 5 career Premier League games that they have started, we have won a total of 0. We've lost 4 and draw 1. When they start together, we definitely can't win. And when they play in general, we have a hard time winning. I don't want to slag off Archie Gray too much because I called this last week. I said, guys, how do you feel? Spence is gone. Archie Gray is going to be our backup right back. How do you feel about this? Jack said, he could do a job. That's fine. He could do a job. Can he do a good job?
Yeah.
Can he do a good job? And can we lean on him to man the backup right back position? God willing, Poirot gets injured. No, we're screwed. So I can't stand that we never have adequate backup, proper depth. Why am I watching a game this season after buying Tonali, after buying Fernandez, after buying Andy Robertson? Why am I watching Archie Gray and Bergvall in the starting lineup? We lose those games. He came in last year and he kicked him to the curb right away. As soon as he came in, he only played the experienced players. And what happened? We actually won like a game or two and we saved our skin.
Yeah.
He cannot play the kids. I don't want to see Gray and Bergvall. We can't see him. We can see them if they're winning. They want to come on as subs in the 60th minute. We're up 2-0. Get some minutes in the legs, get some experience. Watch the game. Look what Fernandez is doing. Look what Gallagher's doing per se, and Tonali, and learn from these guys. But right now, when Gray and Bergvall start Premier League games, we lose. And throughout their career, when they play games, we lose more than we win. And Gray as a captain was acidine.
You made that point last week. I listened back to some of the call-ins, chop cheese, that you just felt like part of the issues for the last couple of seasons has just been playing these guys as our midfielders, just young, inexperienced, immature guys, and Gray and Bergvall. And do you think it's De Zerbi's hands were tied a little bit, though, in terms of the lineup? Do you think that's maybe part of the reason we can be cautious about maybe going too hard on him or anything like that, because he didn't really have a ton of options in terms of midfield and even the Archie Gray, like that is going to be the backup, unfortunately, this season. Pedro Porro is not ready.
Okay, is his hands tied behind his back in the sense that we don't have another right back to play for Archie Gray? 100%. That's on the board. Why are we selling a player if we don't have an adequate player to replace him right away? We shouldn't be putting ourselves in that position. In that case, his hands are tied. But in the cases of why are you starting Bergvall, listen, don't tell me Fernandez is not fit, but then you're going to sub him on at halftime and let him play half the game, full pace.
On that one, though.
If you're dressed up and you're on the lineup, you're fit enough to play.
I don't 100% subscribe to that. There's plenty of examples across all sports, not even football, where you might have a player like that's a lot better than what you're able to put out there, but he's not 100% fit, and he might, the manager might turn around, or others might turn around and go, look, you've got 30 minutes in you. Just because he's on the bench and come on and give you 30 minutes, it doesn't mean he can give you 90 minutes. I do understand what people are saying, but the evidence is there to support that they're not ready. Fernandez ruled himself out of preseason because of fatigue and issues. So there's a fair case to say he wasn't ready to start. Bentancur only had, I think one preseason game in him before the start of the season. So there's also a fair argument to say he's nowhere near ready. The likes of Gallagher, Bergvall have had all of preseason. Archie Gray, all of preseason. So that's like looking at the team he went with. A lot of them played most of preseason. So
he went
although I do understand the frustrations, I don't even think 45 minutes was the plan for Bentancur and Fernandez. I think we rushed them in to alleviate being hammered 6-7, 8-0.
Yeah.
Personally, like I said, I do understand the frustration. But just because a guy's on the bench, it doesn't mean they're always 100% fit, and ready to go.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a gray area. It's just like if you're fit enough to play 45 minutes and you're putting on the kit and you're dressing today, then, God willing the situation, you're ready to play today. If you're not willing to step out on the grass and dress up, then you just need to, just not be a part of the team today. And then, it takes the guy from being handcuffed a little bit. It kind of makes a decision for him.
But if they don't suit up and boot up and get on the bench, and we were to bring in young academy players that are fit enough and ready, it would have got even worse. Do you get what I'm saying?
I agree. No, 100%. If we brought in like Luca Williams-Barnett instead of a Madison, and we started messing around with the younger kids and bringing them on, it definitely would have got worse. But I feel like the message that you're sending to the fan base wouldn't have been worse. It would have been, listen, RDZ, this was the hand that he was dealt today. He only had these starting players. Your likes of Fernandez, your Bentancurs, the guys that you're going to question should they have been starting, they just weren't available today. And that's the message that they would have been putting out to the fan base. Instead of the message being, okay, he obviously got it all wrong from the start. Now Bergval's having a shocker. You got to pull him at halftime, put in Fernandez right away, and now you're sending the message to the fans, well, if Fernandez can play the whole second half and you're putting him in an emergency situation, why couldn't he have started? That's just the counter argument. But I do hear you. Maybe he just wasn't fit enough to start, but they felt comfortable with maybe bringing him on once the game was more, in our favor or something like that, and it just ran out of control.
I do understand what you're saying, right? But I think in years gone by, I think a big part of the problem is we're rushing players in when they're not fit and not ready, and they break down and they get injured. And it's clear over the course of preseason that De Zerbi's trying to protect a lot of these guys that have suffered long-term injuries and making sure that they do get back to full fitness and all that sort of jazz. It's just, I understand what you're saying about these players being on the bench, but I think, if you're looking at the course of preseason and stuff, I think most people knew what the lineup was coming in. Let's not forget, coming into the season, people were praising Bergval for the preseason he had. Let's not forget that, by the way. So we can't put it all on De Zerbi because it's gone wrong. There's plenty of fans out there that were on the Bergval hype coming into this season, and now all of a sudden are blaming De Zerbi. Bergval wanted out because he wanted game time. He was given that game time. What did he do with it? I bet your bottom dollar Gallagher's knocking on his door asking for game time. What has he produced? It's not all on Roberto De Zerbi. I do understand your point, but I think there also has to be some rational thinking with fans. If them players weren't available for preseason, how do we ever expect them to start that game?
I just, I agree with you. How do we expect them to start that game is a valid question. It just comes down to it's week one. This is the one that matters. Sometimes you gotta pull it out. Sometimes you gotta, be in that uncomfortable situation. Maybe you have a slight knock, but you know what? We're going away at Brentford week one, and we want to start the season on a good foot. Sometimes you have to make a hard call like that, but that's what's got us in trouble in recent history. And like you said, if he wants to protect the players, I completely understand.
Like to that point, under Ange Postecoglou, we bought Romero and Van de Ven back for Chelsea. Two of them were hauled off inside the first half of that game.
Yeah.
That's why you don't play players that aren't fit enough 100%. To start.
I agree.
Example. I think that's something De Zerbi is trying to avoid. I think De Zerbi is trying to play the long game with these guys. Years gone by, we've brought them back available. Yeah, but my right leg's hanging off. Doesn't matter. Let's put some plasters on it. Get yourself out there, and then all of a sudden they break down. They're out for a large part of the season. I think De Zerbi is trying to. And I think people have missed this as well. There was a report put out, about a week or two ago, with their change of approach in terms of the medical, sports science and all that sort of stuff, where it's becoming more individualized. And when it becomes more individualized, you get to know more about the player, his body and stuff like that, what he can and can't handle. And that's part of probably where the decision has been made. Because another thing is, not all these decisions are on the manager, by the way. If people go and listen to podcasts of players coming out of the game now, managers coming out of the game, especially managers, by the way, they're all going mad. Because they're all like, well, I've got this nerd coming to me telling me that he's in the red zone and I can't play him. Even though, I want to. I can't play him because he's in this red zone.
Yeah,
there's probably a part of that going on at Tottenham as well.
I just think, too, just to add to it, we did probably look at this season where we've had such catastrophic injuries and we can't seem to understand why, that De Zerbi did seem to have this approach where he's just not going to take any risks whatsoever with any player. And I could also understand that. So that then means he's kind of like, listen, Bergval, this is your chance, man. Prove me wrong, prove me right, whatever opinion De Zerbi has of the guy, but this is your opportunity. You've asked to play in the number 8. You've asked to get these minutes. Here's your chance. Absolutely failed. So I just put it more down to the player than the manager personally when it comes to it, because I think he does. Because if he loses Fernandez, Bentancur first game of the season to another injury, we're fucked. So I think that's what
that's true.
Is.
Yeah, I had back and they get injured. We have to put up with that every single game, week in, week out. We lose our minds.
I had PTSD watching this game, though. I thought I was reliving last year's nightmare. I was like, no. Don't tell me. It can't be like this again this year. There's no way. let's just really hope that was a one-off for this
Mhm.
season. Let's hope that we can like talk, at the end of the season and be like, man, it's so funny how week 1 was our worst game of the season. Let's hope that that's the case, because I can't do it, man. I can't do it. I come on, man. This is the club I love. To just watch us go out there and look like inept, like this is your team. I had the guy at the pub saying, this is your team. I was like, my man, you relax. All right. This is my team. Yes, I'm not a front runner. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm not a Manchester City fan. Okay. Just calm down. I was like, yeah. He's like, well, you said you guys are going to be good this year. I said, no. I said, I'm hoping for top 6. He goes, okay, well, you guys look bottom 6. I said, you know what? I'm done with you. All right. I can't talk to you anymore. This guy was bothering me because, I was watching the Spurs game in the pub. But unbelievable, man. Like, it can't be this bad. He's got to. I think right now, after you see our window, it's up to RDZ to fix it. He's got to right the ship, because he makes 13 million pounds a season, and he's got to realize that if he starts Gray and Bergvall together, we're losing games.
Yeah. Agreed. There's something there to it for sure. Do you trust De Zerbi to turn it around, though?
I do, as long as I see, like, I have to see him make decisions that I agree with. Not saying that I should be the coach, but like next game, no Bergvall in the midfield. If he does that, I'm going to say, okay, he's starting to understand something here. I'm hoping Poro's back next game. If Poro's back next game, if we see a starting lineup of no Gray and no Bergvall, then I'm going to say, yes, I have faith that he will turn it around. And we just got Savinho, right? Last time I was on here, that was yet to happen, and Marmoush was yet to happen. We just got those 2 guys. How do you feel about those being our signings right now?
I'm a bit confused.
How do you feel about Marmoush, especially? Like, where do you see him fitting in?
Can someone confirm to me whether it's been confirmed or not? Because I know Fabrizio Romano went Sunday evening and sort of said loan, with an obligation to buy, given he meets in certain stats or whatever. But then someone else came out this morning and said that he's way off the mark, that there's been no deal even struck for Marmoush yet. Is that confirmed?
Well, I don't know. You call me a front runner or an American fool. I go by the here we go from Fabrizio. He shot the here we go. I was like, all right, it's happening. So maybe not. Obviously, he has gotten him wrong. So if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But let's speak hypothetical. I do believe that he'll probably come in.
I'm just seeing here that Marmoush, it was in City training this morning, which I would allude to maybe that the deal hasn't been done, because if it has, there's no way they'd risk him in training. He'd be on his way to Tottenham to do a medical. So maybe Fabrizio does need to retire. That's a couple he's gone a bit early on.
He's supposed to be the Tappan merchant. He's missing sitters. Q7. Thanks for the good comment. I completely agree. I think well said. I was trying to say that in a more succinct way, and you've done it better than me. And then Leighton Evelyn saying, and De Zerbi, I trust. Good to see that. Leighton, my favorite happy clapper. Sorry, Dave, you're about to say something.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, do you want to honor Chuck E. Cheese's question, Jacko, about sort of Savinho on that?
I mean, I think Savinho immediately is going to be the option on the left or the right when Kudus comes back into the team. I think Kudus will be the automatic starter, but potentially he's another one that we don't know the fitness. We don't know whether De Zerbi is going to be cautious and careful with him. He's already been burned before with Kudus, where he said, you're going to be my guy for these last 7 games. Kudus gets injured in training and then out for the rest of the season. So I wonder if he's going to be cautious there. And then it might just start with Savinho, Tell still on the left. We don't know the case with Madison. It might still be someone like Gallagher again through the middle.
That Kudus is going to be through the middle. He's referenced that a couple of times last season.
That's true. I'm just wondering if Kudus is ready for next weekend. We just don't know. And if, let's say he isn't, then I think Savinho will play on the right. And then he'll probably move Kudus through the middle. And then we'll go with still until Marmoush is actually signed, probably still Richarlison.
It'd be interesting. Savinho and Marmoush coming in will be interesting. I was watching a highlight reel today. They showed a number of clips of them two sort of linking up and stuff like that. So, it'd be interesting.
I do wonder, too, if he might even make a change. I know he's played Richarlison mostly, but let's say Marmoush isn't available. I do wonder if he might make a change with Richarlison and Solanke, because someone made a funny Twitter comment. I think I sent it to you, Dave, where damned if you do, damned if you don't. You start Richarlison, you get frustrated that Richarlison's on the pitch, and then you start Solanke, and then you start to miss Richarlison. And I thought
couldn't agree more with that.
And I think even De Zerbi might be going through that headache right now, where he's like, well, Richarlison has the best chance of scoring the goal, but anytime someone plays it into him, it's almost guaranteed to be going the opposite direction. And then all of a sudden, everybody's out of sorts because he's lost the ball. And with Solanke, he can maybe hold up the ball, maybe a little bit better, but who's to say he ever gets on to the end of a chance? And so I wonder if there might even be changes up front in that regard for next weekend.
If I'm a manager, I'm always going to take the gamble on the guy that's going to get me the goal, regardless of their frailties and stuff like that. Too. That's the striker's job. But, interestingly, I was watching, what's that one that everyone watches? Alice Talks Ball or something like that. Mm-hmm. I watched her for the first time today. She done a sort of video on Marmoush, and she was comparing through up the stats, Marmoush's stats, in the attacking areas and the metrics compared to Solanke's and Richarlison's. First of all, their two attacking stats are absolutely alarming for any Tottenham fans. Seriously alarming. But Marmoush outdoes them in nearly every single metric, bar one, which is winning headers. It's the only one.
Surprised. Yeah, I've always seen him as more of a pacey striker than really someone that,
But that's my point. He gets more shots, more entries into the box, more completed passes, this, that, and the other. So you're hoping if we do get Marmoush over the line, he can sort of bring that attacking sort of unit together to a certain degree, because what they're missing is that Harry Kane type, that focal point where you can play off him, in and around him, run off him, stuff like that. And that's where we need to get to. We cannot go into another season with Richarlison or Solanke, because if we do, we're fighting 17th again.
I was going to ask you how you felt about Marmoush, but you basically just answered it. So you'd be in favor for it. So you think Marmoush would do a good job for us at 9?
Yeah, I still question, is he going to get you to 20-odd goals a season, 25 goals a season? But I do think it's going to be an upgrade on Richarlison and Solanke. But the same thing, you bring him in, you put him up there. If he's feeling injuries or he's feeling niggles and he's out for a while, you're back to square one. You're back to the same problem yet again.
I agree. If that happens and we get Marmoush and then we have Savinho and let's say Kudus comes back, if we're still struggling at that 10 position, I would start Kudus at cam. I would put Savinho out on the right wing. I would throw Tell out on the left wing, and I'd put Marmoush up through the center.
This whole Gallagher at 10 has to stop.
Yeah.
A 10 for me is a guy that gets on the ball.
Yeah, and he creates.
Turn, plays people forward, takes shots. Anytime the guy takes a shot, it ends up outside the stadium. He can't get on the half turn. He's gassed all the time, and he does nothing in possession. Absolutely nothing. He fails to get on the ball. We have to stop this experiment. It was evident pre-season. I call it out pre-season after every single game. It concerns me this guy's our number 10 right now. That's something De Zerbi has to take. And I'll be pissed off if I see Gallagher as number 10 against Newcastle at the weekend. De Zerbi has to take no for an answer with this. That it doesn't work. It does not work. The only other logical conclusion I can think of Gallagher playing in the 10 is a bit like Papa Matsar. If you don't have that technical ability of a Maddison or something, then you put someone that's going to press high up and look to turn the ball over. But Gallagher failed in that job, and he's failed in that job pre-season as well. So for me, until he actually does something, take him out of the number 10. I do not want to see him there against Newcastle. It's a failed experiment.
Okay, but if we go into Newcastle game with, let's say, Kudus still injured, and let's say we have Savinho and no Marmoush, who are you starting in the midfield?
Try something different. I don't care. Bring Papa Matsar and put him in there. He done a good job in the number 10 under Thomas Frank at the start of the season. And, since Thomas Frank took him out, the team derailed.
Would you put Fernandez at 10? Fernandez, Bentancur, Tonali?
I think it's a good midfield tree, and it certainly gets you to grip of the game and helps you control the game. That was evident when they came on the pitch against Brentford and we pushed them back.
Yeah.
But what good is it if you can't create chances or take them?
I think we did start to create better chances, though, once they came on, because you did see immediately Bentancur actually had some composure on the ball, and they did combine well with Fernandez. And then Fernandez, Dave, I think he was the one who played both of those passes, or at least 2 of the 3, to Mikey Moore. That led to the best chances in our game, to be honest. So I'd say that they can create chances there. And the big thing that started to happen in the first half was the reason we look so disorganized and all over the shop is if your midfielders are playing really pedestrian and also just continue to lose the ball, you're constantly running backwards. You're constantly putting your defense under pressure. Your forwards are also tracking back and forth. It doesn't really have any sort of sense of control. It just feels like chaos. Whereas immediately when Fernandez and Bentancur came on, we actually were edging our way up the pitch, starting to actually get closer to the box. And then from there, I think Fernandez was immediately shown this guy actually has a decent passing range on him and a good eye. because he was creating, I think, some decent
we
moments.
create a couple of chances, but they're hard to come by, if you know what I mean. Like, you look
Coming
at
from how
Brentford,
shit we were in the first half, though, they were like good chances, I would say. So that's all I mean is I think you can get away with those 3 without a number 10 for the time being.
You can get away with that 3 to a certain extent, but you still need Matisse Town, Mikey Moore, or Charleston to come up with the goods. We still didn't score at the end of the day when they came on. And, you look at it, I think we created 9 chances all game compared to Brentford's 24, 25 chances they created. So there's a huge disparity there. And that's why I say, we still need to bring in the forward players, because if we do, we'll become a very good outfit. You've got guys that can finish off the moves, a midfield that can control the game. It's just, even with them on the pitch, chances are still hard to come by.
I agree with all that. I think everyone would.
But to your point, we do create more, which,
just solving one problem doesn't solve the whole team, but definitely solves one of the big problems that we have.
For sure.
Chop Cheese, any last things you want to?
Yeah. Well, you guys know how I feel about Savinho. I've came on here and given you a rant about how I love him and how I think he's going to be great for us. So I just want to say I'm sticking to my guns on that. Now, that doesn't mean I think he's going to come in and be messy and just start winning us games single-handedly and dancing through everybody. I am not delusional by any means. I just think that he's going to come here and be a very good, high-end Premier League level winger. Okay. I think he has what it takes to be a success at Tottenham Hotspur. I do not think this guy is the Messiah. I just don't want people getting me twisted. But I'm a big Savinho guy. I think he's going to be excellent for us. So I'm very happy that we got him in. But after looking at our front 3, we've been analyzing it for the past couple weeks, a month now. We got Savinho now. We have Tell. Hopefully Kudus is going to come back fit. I think we really need to land Marmoush. I think he would help us at striker as well. Also, what people aren't saying about Marmoush, he has an ability to hit bangers. He likes a shot from long distance, and I think we're missing that as a club for sure. It's just a guy who could kind of, pick it up, grab the bull by the horns and kind of whip it top bins. Marmoush does give us that ability, so I would love to see Marmoush come in as a forward option, winger, striker / cam. And after that, I think we're going to make a deadline day signing. That's going to be one of my bolder predictions. I can't remember the last time supporting Spurs where I haven't seen us make a move on deadline day. So maybe we get a deadline day like Mateta or a Florian Balogun, or maybe like a striker of that nature on deadline day as like a last option, last resort for us. But that's going to be my last take of the day. And just want to say thanks for having me on, guys. Always a pleasure. Classic. Everybody like and subscribe to their channel. These guys are the best.
Me and Jack do have something in the works that we're planning on doing. So we'll be in contact with you as soon as we sort of finalize what we're doing with that.
No problem, my man. I'm here.
All right. Thanks, Chop Cheese. Class call as always.
Especially you guys have a great day.
The approval from Leighton means it's a good call.
Keep coming back. I really do enjoy your input, actually.
100%. I try to make it as much as I can.
Good man.
Right. Well done, Chop.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Boys.
Come on, you Spurs.
Another class
Chucky Cheese becoming a bit of a favorite. People like him in the comments.
I know. He's coming a star in the making. He's better than Savinho. He's hit the ground running straight away.
Speaking of star,
Ian Cook. Hi guys. Do you think it will be the same lineup against Charlton on Wednesday? We'll probably discuss that on the members preview, Ian, for you in some depth. I'll be honest. I'm a little confused. I don't know what he'll go with. Will he give some of these guys another chance that he pulled out at halftime? Is he already pulling the plug on the Bergvall and the Gallaghers? It's only Charlton as well. Sort of think.
They did beat West Ham on the weekend, though.
True.
In West Ham.
True. What's their manager again? He was this former Southampton manager. Charlton. He's a bit of a laughing stock, I remember.
That guy that ended up at Rangers now. Is it him?
No, not Russell Martin, no. Someone before that. Someone in the chat might remind me, but the fact that he beat Nuno in West Ham, they were saying is not a good sign for West Ham. Mikatadze maybe could be the emergency signing at the end. I'd be a big fan of that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. But
not Ruben Sells. Yeah, Nathan Jones. Yeah, he was a bit of a laughing stock, and he beat. Anyway, he was doing the big fist pump Jurgen Klopp stuff in front of fans, and West Ham fans were like, "This is going to be a bad season." Good to have you.
I do find this whole Marmoush talk though a bit interesting because, all the reports are saying that Tottenham have struck their steel, but he was in training today.
He's in training today, and I told you privately, I was like, the fact that there's not even a murmur of it, like usually you get 1,000 tweets going like, Marmoush, just packed his bag. Marmoush just got on the private
flight,
car.
yeah.
You
Flight
usually get all
tracker.
those updates. Like, or you get more details about the deal, whatever. Like, De Zerbi called him on this day at this time. Like, the fact that it's just been crickets is concerning.
Yeah.
For sure. Ian Cook, thank you for the longevity of support. 54 months. Crazy.
It's difficult
Thank
to know
you
what
so
to do
much.
Wednesday night, Ian. It really is. You know, does he bring back in the likes of Fernandes, Tonali? Does he put out his starting 11 ahead of the Newcastle game and look to get them going in a unit? Or does he hand the opportunity to the kids, the likes of Donnelly or players like that? Be interested to see what happens.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, poor of us. Forgot to do this. Please, everybody, check out Chop Cheese's channel.
Very
I'm
poor.
going to put it in the chat there. Poor form. Please, everybody, subscribe over there. My computer's acting a little bit slow, but I'm going to put the
While you do that,
link in
I'll
the
bring
chat.
on the next guest. I believe it's Rhino.
It's Ryan, then Stefan
Right.
Boys.
Ryan, and then we will be ending with Stefan. Let's bring on Conor Gallagher's number one fan. Let's see what he has to make of his performance. Of course, being all at half time. How are you, Rhino?
I'm not too bad, man. I'm sick and tired, right, of hearing everything about Gray, right? He was absolutely abysmal.
Don't be
Like I
deflected.
said
Let's
last
start
week,
with Gallagher. Don't be deflected.
Good try,
Let's start
though,
with
Ryan.
Gallagher.
Good try. That was clever.
Yeah, I do like that. I do like the shithousery of it. But let's start with Conor Gallagher. Player you've bigged up a lot. He was fucking atrocious at the weekend, though.
look, he wasn't having his best game, but it's who had their best game, right? At the end of the day, it's got to the point where no one had a good game, but what do we do? I don't know what I don't know what.
Let me
to
ask
say
you a
with
fair
Gallagher,
question
because-
around. Let me ask you a fair question around Gallagher, and this is me really trying to be fair. Is it a case Gallagher struggled to get into the game because we couldn't progress the ball up into the calm and sort of forward line?
Do you know what? I think that could be the case, but at the same time, it's not going to be the team we're going to be starting with game in, game out. Do you know what I mean? Week in, week out, sorry.
I hope
So,
not.
well, if it is, we might as well kiss goodbye our Premier League survival now already, if that's the case. But no, on a serious note, it's not going to happen, right? It's going to come to the point where Mickey's going to come back. You're going to have Porro coming back. Well, let's hope that he comes back as soon as he possibly can, because, great.
Go on,
I
get it
don't know
out.
how
It's
many-
bugging you. Come on, get it out. Okay, get it out. Let's
It's
go.
really annoying.
Let's go,
Right,
Archie.
look, Gray is not good enough in any way, shape, or form. He's not good enough. He made a mistake for that first goal. That was his mistake. Full blown his mistake. Shouldn't even, like I said last week, he shouldn't be in the team. He is absolutely not good enough to even be at Tottenham. Right then, Bergvall. What was he doing? Giving the ball away stupidly like that. That was pathetic. He wasn't strong enough. He wasn't anything, Dave. He was literally like a feather in the wind. That's what it looked like to me.
What would you do in those situations if you're Bergvall? If the ball's coming to you, you've got players, sort of 2 yards away from you. What would you do?
Play it backwards if you have to.
Yeah, or just put your foot through it. Yeah.
You don't just keep running until the player comes to you. No, you do not. You go and play it and keep possession, even if it means going back. Fine, I don't mind that, right? Because we're going back to keep hold of possession and then go again. But no, Bergvall wants to run straight into the player and then risk conceding a goal that actually did happen. So it's ridiculous. And then Kinski. I said this about Kinski last year, Dave. I absolutely said this about Kinski last year. He shouldn't be our first choice goalkeeper, and I will stick by that because I knew he's not good enough. He's just not good enough to be in goal. Right? I would now, look at bringing in, what's his name? Martinez now from Villa.
I don't know whether I should be concerned or not, but funny enough, my dad said the same thing to me today, actually, about getting rid of, replacing Kinski. Look, everyone knows me. I've never been a big, backer of Kinski. I think for me, I don't.
Yeah, you had question marks at the beginning of the summer. Yeah.
But to play devil's advocate, and this is what I'm doing here, by the way, at Spurs TV. I'm not here to trap anybody. I'm here to ask questions. It's my job. When it comes to Kinski, he did face 24 shots on his goal. A mistake is bound to happen when you're facing 24 shots, no?
One of the saves was actually, I look back on it, remember one of them that it like deflected off of Senesi, and then he had a raised hand. It was actually, one of them was a crack save that actually then led to the goal still going in. But so to be fair to him, he had a howler and also some very good saves. Sorry.
Good to see you, William.
Off, though.
See, I knew this was going to happen. We need to go out and get a new goalkeeper. I said this though, didn't I? At the end of last season, Dave, I said, don't get your hopes up with Kinski.
Yeah.
All the hype around him is not going to last. He's going to fluff his lines at the beginning of the season. And look what he's done now. I'm proven right, and I don't want to be proven right for something like that. But when I am proven right, I've got to take the flowers for it, or should I say?
No, look,
has to give me the flowers.
I understand. What concerns me when it comes to Kinski is, like, one thing me and Jack has routinely pointed out, we accept he's good with his feet. We accept he's good. Like, for instance, came out, punched a few things away. Good, that's what you want. But we've always called his shot stopping into question. And that second goal, he palms it to the only Brentford player that's in and around that area, which I find absolutely...
It was right at him.
Yeah, I find it absolutely staggering. I take into account it's hit with power and the ball swerving. But as a goalkeeper, if you watch what modern-day goalkeepers are doing, where, you got coaches hitting balls off cones and they're deflecting here, there, and everywhere. I'm sorry, at this day and age, I do expect them to handle it.
They practice those all the time.
Yeah, exactly, Jack. That's what I'm trying to say there on that one. And I just think the fact that the very first game, the one thing that everyone's highlighted is now being called into question again. That concerns me.
Well said.
Yeah, but Dave, can I just say something, though? That second goal would not have happened. That second goal would not have happened if Bergwijn hadn't lost the ball.
100%. But mistakes are going to happen. 100%. I agree with you. That should never happen. But mistakes will happen. And you need your goalkeeper to bail you out. And he's adding to the problem. You can't excuse it because Bergwijn's lost the ball. He's also made a massive mistake. It's error combined with error.
No, of course, I'm not trying to excuse it, Dave. I'm not trying to excuse it what's happened. But what I'm saying is, right, that wouldn't have happened if it hadn't started off with Bergwijn being an absolute muppet and losing the ball when he could have just passed it backwards. But then, after that happens, then Kinski should have done better when it did happen. He should have been switched on, and he wasn't. So there's fault from Bergwijn and Kinski on that.
Before we get more facts off you, we need to honour Paul Vanden here. He says, I'm a big fan of Kinski. Monster mentality. Ryan will eat his words.
I hope so, but I know it's not going to happen, Paul, mate. I know that for a fact, right? And that is a fact that I can tell you. And this is the second fact is in 2 weeks, right? That Kinski is not good enough. We need to get... We shouldn't have even kept him.
That's a fact, not an opinion, Paul.
It is a fact because I already said it before the beginning of the season, way before the beginning of the season. So there's another fact for you. And quite clearly, right? Unfortunately, I was proven right. And now I would love to see Martinez come in because he's 20 times better than Kinski and Dubravka.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's better than both of those put together. Kinski being a second choice goalkeeper, cool. I'm happy with that. Like I said, I'm happy with him being a second choice, but not first choice because he's just going to keep costing us, and that is going to be a big problem. And then having Archie Gray as captain, what are we doing here, Dave? What are we doing here, Ryan? Seriously, what are we doing here?
Walk me through the process. How does this guy end up on the 5, let alone with the armband on the weekend? Walk me through the process, how this happens, because I'm with you on this one. Concerns me a little. Maybe I do need to reanalyze it, but I'll stick with you on this one right now.
Facts, Dave.
Why? how we ended up there? Is this Roberto De Zerbi led? Is this club led? Maybe pushing this guy forward? Where are you at with it?
Look, I don't know where it's led, Dave, right? But what I do know is, right, is how on earth is he even on that 5-man shortlist? I would have had Robertson on that in his place. Definitely. Robertson, Tonali, anyone else but Gray. Anyone else but Gray. It is absolutely shocking, Dave. Right? To be honest, when I saw that, I thought, oh God, here we go.
Yeah.
And unfortunately it's happened, and it's sad to say, because Gray's not good enough. He lives off of his granddad's name. I'm sorry, but that's how it is, Dave. And this is where all the hypes come from. He lives off his granddad's name.
Do you know what?
I'm gonna tweet that to one day then.
It's too much. It's too much for me to handle, brother. Too much for me to handle. Captaincy, like, if your captains aren't available, your vice captain, usually it's sort of like a reward to the player that's like deserved it, or put in performances and stuff. I just don't understand how this guy's been given the captain's armband. What has he done to deserve it? He hasn't even cemented himself in the Tottenham 11. That's what concerns me. How are you putting the captain's armband on a young kid's shoulders, especially away from home? It's madness. Absolutely madness. But for me, honestly, I think this is club driven. If I take into account that the De Zerbi didn't use him last year with 7 games to go and used all the experienced players, and we started winning games, by the way, despite everyone's opinion on Graham Bergvall, as soon as he took them out of the midfield, took them out of the team, we won games. We put points on the board. All of a sudden, start the season, to Chuck E. Cheese's point, they're back in. We get absolutely mauled. With Archie Gray, I don't understand how he's ended up as captain. It's absolutely mind-boggling. That should have been Robbo all day long.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I'm saying, David. It should have been someone like Robertson, or maybe a push, right? It should have been Tonali, one of those two, because one of those two are captain material, and that's something that I've not actually thought we would have. I would have been saying at the beginning of the season that Tonali or Robbo should have been captain, but when it comes to choosing anybody over Archie Gray as the 5th captain, I would have had Robbo or Tonali in there. But then doesn't this make you think, though, Dave, that is he even is Archie Gray in the leadership? Because God help me if he is.
Yeah, he's in the fives, along with Ben Davies. Along with Ben Davies, a guy that just barely plays 5 games a season. How the fuck is he in it? What influence is he going to have on and around the football pitch and around training ground? Because I'm not being funny. If that guy came to me in the dressing room, I'd be like, Ben, you don't know whether you're left back or left side centre back. Please do not come to me and try and give me any advice whatsoever until we actually know what you are and you actually perform and get games every single season. How he's in it. And this is why I do think some of it is club-led. Some of it is club pushing people forward to justify their existence in the squad. Man. And
it's a shame, Dave. It's a shame, because if it was me, right, on that, having the final decision, the 5 captains, let's just say the 5 captains, yeah, right, for one taken after the other, I would have Robertson, Tonali,
yeah.
Conor Gallagher in there. Don't care what anyone says.
I put Ben in there.
And then, Benny. And then I would have Fernandez as well. And I know he's new, but and I know he's young, but at least he people would listen to Fernandez.
Oh, I wouldn't put Fernandez in there. I think he's too, again, similar to Archie Gray, I think he's too young to carry that responsibility. For me, although I don't agree with, the hype around Mickey van de Ven being captain, I understand how he got there. There's not a lot of great options in terms of players that have not just signed this summer, that have been here for a while. But, you've got Bentancur in there, who, by the way, when he came back and De Zerbi stuck him in, was a massive part of the reason why we didn't get relegated, because we can control games with him in there. How's he not even being took into consideration for it? Robbo, look at the wealth of experience, what he's won, Scotland captain, this, that, and the other. How's he not even being considered? Tonali, £100 million signing. How's he not being? It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. Ben Davies is being put in there to appease all the older guys who still, adore the Pochettino era. You've got Archie Gray put in there for all these new legions of fans who tell me Archie Gray is fucking Zinedine Zidane, and yet he wouldn't even be able to lace his boots. Honestly, it's starting to make me think the club and the manager don't respect the captaincy whatsoever.
Do you know what? I don't think the board respect the captaincy. And to be honest, right, half these players that are here now, right, and I'm not talking about the new signings. Take the new signings out of what I'm about to say here, right? Taking that into consideration, right? I would like I said, I would still get rid of Richarlison. I'd still get rid of Tell. I would get rid of Kulu because even if he comes back, he'll be needing to be sold on. Just as my opinion. Odebear still needs to go. Kudus can stay. Madison can stay as long as he stays fit. Otherwise,
Gallagher.
Kinski can go. Say that again, Jack.
Gallagher can go.
No, Gallagher can stay for as long as he proves himself still. But apart from those lot, he's gonna come good. I already gave you the prediction of what I think he's gonna do this season, and not just that, right? When you think about Conor Gallagher, yeah, if people like Simeone, yeah, right, didn't rate someone like Conor Gallagher.
Well, he didn't play him very much.
Because he didn't have the right spot for him, that's why.
No, because he's not good enough. He's not better than
Ryan's deflection tactics have been improving, actually, immensely.
You don't play because the manager doesn't like you. You don't play because the people he's selecting ahead of you, he feels like are light years ahead of you. It's why you don't play.
No, not with Conor Gallagher. It's a totally different situation.
It's a special case.
Yeah, special case. I forgot about that.
They just didn't have a spot for him, Dave. They didn't. And that's why they had to get him gone, because they didn't have enough space for him. And that's the unfortunate thing. Look at him at Chelsea. He was playing week in, week out. So then what you're saying that Pochettino is going to rate him.
I hear people going, look what he done at West Brom. That was 10 years ago. I'm talking about the player that I watched for half of a season last year, the player that I watched at the start of the season this year. The guy hasn't even been fit at his Tottenham tenure. The guy is gassing out. He can't last 90 minutes. First of all, that's a major issue. Second of all, you're a midfielder. Part of your job is to get on the ball and make shit happen. Can't do that at Tottenham Hotspur. I don't want to hear about the player he used to be. I'm watching the guy. He's nowhere near it. He's not good enough. Whatever happened at Atletico, he's lost it. He's lost his touch. He's lost his way. It's as simple as that.
We might have to save the debate for another time.
Fair.
But one last thing I want to say, right? The next two games, well, I say it's going to be a 2-1 win, and then Newcastle, depending on who's playing, 1-0 win.
I'll take it.
I'll take both of those. Those are points.
Well, Rhino, good calling, brother. I've enjoyed it as always, and we'll see you again next week, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, Dave.
All right. Have a good evening, Rhino.
Thank you, Ryan.
Cool.
Appreciate you.
See you soon, lad.
Yeah, love you guys.
Have a good one.
Love you, man. See ya.
Yeah.
Big up, Rhino.
Oh, you take him out.
Do you know what? Not a good call by Rhino, actually.
It's been very entertaining the last month or so. He's been very entertaining. I'll give him that. And his deflection tactics are improving immensely. Even Q7 gave him his plaudits there, which was funny to see.
It's brilliant.
Also love Paul Vamben saying you will be proven wrong. Love that from Paul. Good to have you in the house, by the way. Let's end things off, though. And also, this was funny. Q7 saying this mythical one season at Palace. It just keeps coming back. Yeah, love that. Let's end things off, though, with Stefan Blois. He's been very, very patient. Bring him in here. Hey, Stefan.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing our best. The best we can.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start? Do you want to start off? I mean, team selection's been a big debate today. Certain individuals like Bergwijn, Kinski. I mean, it's so many things. So anything that you want to get started off on?
Yeah, well, we might as well talk about the game as that was just this other weekend. To be honest, it was one of those games you kind of think of like in hindsight and think, why didn't I put money on that? It was like so obvious that we were going to lose that game. When you look at the lineup and the forwards that we had, same problems as last year, playing inexperienced players, a back four that have never ever played together at all, and that really showed. But at the same time, I kind of just brushed it to one side, just got on with my day, saw rival fans banter us. I was like, yeah, whatever. And the meltdown from our fans was just crazy.
Too
I
much.
think a lot of it is to do with because they're worried that they haven't seen any improvement. And there were some channels that were just going, they were having like that's what they call it in this community, isn't it? Like emergency meetings. Yeah, there was like a hell of a lot of them going on. And I was thinking, guys, like 3 of those players are going to be playing in our first team. That team will probably never ever play together ever again because we're going to get rid of some of those players, and then hopefully the likes of Mikey Moore is going to be sent off to Germany, so he's going to get some valuable experience. Whether he can ever make it with us or not is another matter. I still have my doubts. I think he needs to bulk up a bit. I don't think he's quite strong enough yet. But I don't know. I just think, like I said to you before the season started, I was looking to see where this window would take us, and if we could get the forwards in like Mamouche and Savino, hopefully maybe we could get a Gakpo. If not, maybe we could get a centre forward. And I think we need a bit of height up there, so Gakpo would be good because I think our team does lack a bit of height, and I think we'll be fine. I think I'm not even worried about people criticizing De Zerbi. I think he knew the situation we were coming into. It isn't very ideal. It is, you could say unpreparing for the season, but with all the players coming back from the World Cup and the pre-season that we had, flying all the way over to Australia and New Zealand, players coming back from injuries and having to integrate all these players at the same time. Yeah, it was just like we could have done with another month of pre-season, but it doesn't work like that, of course.
I do think that's actually for a very sort of reasonable take. That's sort of where I landed after the game on the weekend.
Yeah.
I suppose the question I have for you, Stefan, is, for fans out there that are probably seething at them out when we're talking like that, how long do they have to wait for us to, in your opinion, start turning the corner? Because I think that's the big question. Because you would argue the start of a season, if you're a month in and you're losing games, his job is on the line.
Yeah, well, I think when he started at Brighton, I think they lost their opening 5 or 6 games.
Yeah, 6.
And I know that, and I know this isn't his first season with us because he came at the back end of last season, but that was all about surviving. I think he might be trying to implement his ideas, so it's going to take a little while to get through to the players onto the pitch, so we can actually see what he's been working on. So I'm quite calm about it. I think it will be fine. Unfortunately, the way the world is now is so reactionary after every result. Like you win, you're up here. You lose, like you're way down here. It's like it's like somewhere in the middle. If you think back to last year, we came off finishing 17th and winning the Europa League. And I never really rated Frank. And I remember talking to you about that early on in the season.
Yeah.
But the first 2 games, we beat Burnley at home, and then we beat Man City away, and we looked really good. And we had that PSG game. Now, those 3 games are probably the 3 best games under Frank, I think. I can't think of any other games. But what happened after that? We went completely. We just fell off a cliff. So I'm not taking the 2 or 3 games that we have of this season, as long as I can start to see what I'm looking at. It might sound a bit daft, but when you start a new project, I think instead of results, you want to see performances get better. Like I don't want to see any 1-0 scrappy wins. That doesn't mean anything to me. What I want to see is us play well. I want to see patterns of play, and I want to see us go gradually, like we did with Pochettino. We were gradually getting better and better and better.
That's fair.
I think we see scrappy 1-0 wins or draws or whatever. I'm going to be more worried than that, even though the points are on the board.
On your point about Poch, I remember the first 5 games of the season under Poch used to wind me up because we were very indifferent. Sometimes looked a bit off it, but then for the last 32, 33 games, we would be all over teams,
Yeah.
superior fitness-wise, physicality-wise, implementing and installing our game plan on them. But the first 5 games on the pitch specifically used to wind me up. But I remember our lad used to always say, Dave, it's apparent, just sit back, be careful. Or you sit back, relax, we'll be all right.
Yeah. But it's because that's a fan's take, though, isn't it? I can completely understand that. Because you're watching the games and you're watching every single game, and you want us to win no matter what. You want to have that feel good feeling. But I suppose I'm just looking at it, I'm kind of like zoomed out, if you will, and I'm just kind of looking at it and thinking, this is what's going to happen. I have faith. We have got so many good players now that I can't see how this doesn't work. If it doesn't, then serious questions have to be asked, because we've really heavily invested in the squad. And I believe in De Zerbi at the moment, but yeah, after I will judge him after 10 games. I think that will be a fair enough time to assess what's been going on, because they say don't look at the league table until after 10 games. So I'm gonna look at what we do in these.
We were top of the league under Frank. I mean, after a few games.
Very
to
briefly,
your point.
but
Your point. Yeah. Take it away. It's your call.
When we were up there, I never believed that it was going to last because of the football we were playing. I just thought it's just a matter of time until we lose games. Because when we won at Everton, I think Mickey van der Ven, he scored like 2 or 3 goals that game.
Yeah.
We played crap. The only reason we won that game was because of set pieces. I was like, and you had fans that, again, they were up here. They were so excited. They were like, oh, this is amazing. We're gonna go unbeaten almost. I was like, come on, like, if you watch the game from minute 1 to 90, we weren't very good at all. We got a few set pieces, and that was it.
Maybe
I was going to say, Dave, to Stefan's point, you could say that there's probably this lingering, and I'm not trying to excuse overreactions or anything, but there's probably this lingering trauma from finishing 17 2 times in a row.
Course.
So people are desperate to just get off to a winning start, have points. But then also everyone's expectations is like, we've seen what De Zerbi's capable of. We're seeing these big money signings. Like, we need to be challenging for the top 4, top 5, top 6, right? And it's sort of this immediacy kind of thing, like you're saying, and that comes then with reactionary to your point. So I agree with that, actually, and I've probably been guilty of it, because when you're on camera sometimes and also in the moment watching the game, it's so hard. Probably it's why Dave and I just don't even do many super long post-match type of stuff sometimes, because it's we sometimes feel like, you know what, we're gonna let our sort of minds calm down a little bit from this all, to be fair. So really good point, Stefan. Sorry.
I think if you put a camera on me from like minute 1 to 90 and 10 minutes after the match is finished, I would be thinking exactly the same thing. But then you just got to just kind of take a walk, do whatever you need to do, think about it, and things will get better. I really do believe that. I'm certainly not pushing the panic button just yet.
I'm with you on that. I'm not pushing the panic button either. I think in years gone by I would have. But I think the fact that you've got like Kudus to come back, you've got Bentancur to come in there, Fernandez, you've got Mickey van der Ven, Pedro Porro, hopefully Marmoush to come in as well, potentially Savinho. That's where I'm sort of I do believe it will get better. If it was years gone by when I'm like, someone goes to me, oh, we've got Madison coming back, I'm like, the guy's made of glass. How much difference is one player really going to make? Or last year I heard we've got Kulu coming back, and I told people, don't bank it or hat on Kulu. You're barely going to see him. By the time he gets back and fitness and everything else. But I do think with the players we've got to come back and the abundance of players we've got to come back, that's where I am more on your side of things this year.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. But hopefully I don't come on this show in October and be like, oh my God, we're back to where we started. But no, I don't think that will happen.
Any question marks over certain individual performances? Because that's what probably Dave and I have actually harped on more about, is the Bergwalls, Gallagher's of the world. Anything
I understand the criticism of them both, and I rate them to an extent that they're professional players and they can do a job. But I think if you watch Bergvall in the Swedish league, he was just like, he had obviously just become too good for that league. He was flicking the balls around the corner. He was doing like little tricks and stuff. But you don't get that kind of time in the Premier League.
No.
So I can't see him lasting as a starter for sure. So I think, that's one good thing. Hopefully De Zerbi's realised that already. And as for Archie Gray, I am surprised he's in the captaincy, the leadership group. I don't think he should be playing right back either. I don't think that's his position. I think most professional footballers should be able to play right back, but you want an expert, someone like Pedro Porro, who can give you a bit of quality. He doesn't really seem to give you much confidence when he's defending, or when he doesn't offer anything going forward either. But these are young players, and we knew this from last year, so it wasn't really a surprise when both of them were included in the team that we were always going to be weak. And then our front three on top of that, I thought Tal, he always tries hard, which reminds me of someone who, he almost works so hard. You can tell he really trying. He just, nothing really seems to be coming off. But he was pretty decent in pre-season, so I was kind of thinking if we're going to get anything out of that game, it's going to be from Mateus Tal. But I think what they did is they doubled up on him. They saw him as the biggest threat out of the three of those players.
Every team has got to do
completely
it.
Nullified us.
They've been doing this to Mateus Tal for quite some time, even last season, because they know he's our only attacking outlet. They send the midfielder over, the fullback over, and usually maybe the winger drops back and he's isolated. We don't have anyone getting there to support him. They do this all the time. That's why we need to get in a right winger to share the workload, share the threat. So then that way you keep everybody honest. And when they do get the ball, then teams struggle to double up on them because it's like, well, if we double up here, they're going to kill us here. But right now they've gone, fuck the middle, fuck the right, squeeze the left, squeeze Mateus Tal. You eliminate that, you stop Tottenham.
Which is quite a compliment.
It's the same with Kudus when we had Kudus fit last year on the flank. It's the exact same thing on the opposite side.
I think he's going to benefit a lot, Tal, from having these new forwards in the team. And hopefully we can start to see a lot more output from him, because they're going to be more worried about Kudus on the right, or whoever it is who's playing out there, or Marmoush, than Tal, which should free him up a bit, which should be, hopefully we can be able to judge him a bit better. Tonali played in the middle, but he wasn't playing alongside the midfielders that we're going to start with. So it's really hard to judge his performance. He did give the ball away, but the team had just been thrown together kind of like last minute, which is bad. It's a bad look for us. And you compare that to Brentford, with their pre-season. I think they went to Portugal or something. They played a couple of pre-seasons, and you left the game thinking, God, I hope we can play football like Brentford one day, which is a crazy thing to say. Considering that their stadium doesn't even feel like the South Stand, which is mad. But they were probably eyeing that game up, thinking, thank God we got Spurs now, because if we had them in 6 weeks' time, this would have been a much more difficult game. So they knew they had to take full advantage, and I expect Newcastle will try and have a go as well. Which
so you think Keith Andrews' quotes, he more or less said your point right there? Do you think he actually meant that? He wasn't just being kind to us?
I didn't actually see his quotes, but
he pretty much said exactly what you said. He said, if we play them, he said something to those lines. If we play them in 3 months' time, it's going to be a very different game. And he said nothing to do with tactics, he said.
Yeah, I think I remember someone saying that, something quite familiar, when we hired Poch, someone who probably really rated Poch at the time because of the work he'd done at Southampton. And, it took them a while to start firing.
For me, I think the biggest problem we've also got at Tottenham is no team respects us. And until we start winning games and putting respect on our name, we're going to keep seeing teams just come at us. In order to stop, make them sort of change their game plan to accommodate us or keep them pushed back, we have to start earning our own respect on the football pitch.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can take advantage of that, because these new forwards are going to be really quick, aren't they? So we can get in behind.
Yeah, we have to be able to play them in behind as well, consistently as well, which is another problem. But where are the goals going to come from, though, Stefan? Because this is one thing that I worry about. We've moved on Romero. Whenever people say about him, source of goals. We're moving on Sarr, contributes with assists and goals. A lot of the goals have been taken out of the team this summer, and we did finish with a blank against Brentford on the weekend. Where are the goals coming from?
Well, those two players you mentioned, they're not really known for goals. I know they did score a lot of goals, but that just shows you the problem right there, doesn't it? How much we struggled with goals. I think they're going to be spread out this season. I'd like to think that our midfielders are going to chip in with.
But you not think they're spread out every year, though? I heard this with the Harry Kane argument about when we were selling Harry Kane. The goals are going to be spread out. We spread out the goals after Kane left, and they were spread out before Kane left. But the difference is we had a striker that could score the clinical goals that can help you win games. And I think that's the problem. I don't subscribe to this. The goals are spread out. The goals were spread out last year. It's no good to us unless you've got that 15-20 sort of season goal scorer, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I can't guarantee that these new forwards are going to pull up those kind of numbers, but they're certainly going to get at least 8 to 10. You would hope.
I hope so.
And if you put that across, a front three and someone like Tao, if he can chip in as well, and then you've got players arriving in the box like Madison or dare I say it, Gallagher or someone like that, who can chip in with some goals. So I think we'll be all right. Yeah, it's hard to just rely on just one single player. I can't really give you a definitive answer who's going to win our golden boot. It would probably be Mamouche if he comes.
Hopefully.
But he might, he's not. It's not going to be anything like Harry Kane numbers.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we just need a guy who can hit 17, 15.
Yeah,
that's
if
enough.
you look at a lot of teams, they spread their goals out. There's
only 2 or 3 every season that eclipse 20, and we just need someone to get close to it at least. I think and that's all we need.
I mean, if you even think of Arsenal, they spread their goals out all over the team. So it works for them. They don't really have one like superstar up front, do they?
And I think in their case, though, it was more being reliant on just a really good defense, a team that just kept goals out, and then they just knew they were going to score some way through a set piece or whatever. Whereas now with Spurs, the last few seasons, even under Thomas Frank, who was supposed to be a good defensive manager, we kept chipping goals in, and we were toothless up front, which leads to a 17th place finish. So I think
this is the difference with Arsenal, though. They don't have that guy up front, but they found a way of scoring 15, 20 goals a season through set pieces alone. They found a different way of doing it, if you know what I mean. They've replaced it from one guy having it, but they're still producing it from one avenue, which is set pieces. Where's that coming from Tottenham? And that's where I'm concerned.
We'll just have to wait to see what De Zerbi, has got for us, because if you think of I'm going to start watching more videos of when he was at Brighton to see if I can kind of see the, the patterns in play and stuff that he was doing for his forwards, because they weren't big names, but he got them playing some really good football up top. And the same for Marseille as well. But Arsenal have gone pretty much full circle, haven't they? Because they when I first started watching football many years ago, they were known as boring Arsenal. And they got Wenger in. They were playing, I hate to say it, but they were probably playing the best football in the league at the time. And now they've gone back to boring Arsenal. So
full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I joked that Arteta's in his David Moyes era.
But he's in his Tony Pulis era, isn't he? The glorified Stoke.
Any other topics that you want to rattle off, Stefan, before we end the show?
It's been a long one, isn't it, for you guys? I don't want to keep you for too long.
Well, yes, it was a dramatic game, as you pointed out, so I think it was always going to be lots to talk about.
No,
it's also your time. It's also your time, Stefan. We're here. Yeah, if there's something else you want to speak about, feel free.
I just want to be the guy maybe that ends the stream that is more kind of just calm and just like as a fan base, I
don't mind that.
We need to chill out. Like we can have our rants and stuff like that, and just like, come on, like we got all these players coming in. We're spending all this money, and we're probably going to go again in the next few windows as well if this is the way they're going. So the club is on the up. We just got to be patient, which is something that football fans, I understand it. You look forward to these games I think that's a lot to do with it as well. Maybe if we had lost the second game 3-0, like if we'd won the first game and then lost the second game, people might not be as mad because they haven't had to wait all this time, because your expectations people's expectations are just so high, but really the team just hasn't settled, and we're not going to see the best football till probably maybe not even till the turn of the year. So we just have to be really patient with this side, and hopefully De Zerbi can get it right. But yeah, there's no point that's like bitching about it. Like some channels, I'm not going to name them, but I was just thinking like, Jesus Christ, man, like seriously, where is your head at? Like one game, if we were going to do that, like for everyone, Villa lost 4-0, United lost 2-0, and Hull are probably going to get relegated, and Man United are going to be probably finishing the top 4. So
I did think about that at least on Sunday I was relieved by the fact I was like, well, Aston Villa looked worse than us somehow, which I didn't think was possible. Like they looked like they could have conceded 10 that game.
They did. They were really, really poor, weren't they? And the goals they conceded as well were more alarming than anything.
More alarming than ours. Like we were just getting bullied and outplayed, whereas Aston Villa were almost scoring on themselves. That's how bad they were.
It was like it was like a game of FIFA when like one player's given up and just like left the controller, and you can just like run through the defense or whatever.
But kind of like De Zerbi, it's like I rate Unai Emery though, so I'm just sort of like to your point,
Yeah.
I'm not a Villa fan, so I was kind of like, I'm not pressing the panic alarm if I were a Villa fan, but I bet Villa fans might have been. But maybe
It's a
to
bit
your point of seeing it from a distance, maybe people who rate De Zerbi would go like, calm down, guys.
Well, the thing is with Villa, though, is that they've lost so many players, and you can tell that he's trying to put on a strong face to the camera. But I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up walking this season because he's not being backed.
That could be.
So I think there's a strong shout to say that maybe he's the first manager, not necessarily to get sacked, but maybe he'll just be like, nah, fuck this. I've given you everything. I've given you your first trophy in like over 30 odd years. And you're selling all the players for whatever reason. Maybe they have to. I'm not sure. I know they had some problems with PSR. They were paying like extraordinary wages to like players like Rashford and stuff like that to try and get them up there in the first place to contend. But yeah, it's all gone pear-shaped now, and looks like the little Villa spell could be coming to an end. You never know.
Yeah. Although didn't they get slapped up against Newcastle at the start of the season before, and they ended up bouncing back?
Yeah, but they had their players, and I think
True.
it'll, because they're going to lose Watkins. They've lost Rogers. They've lost their fullback Dinger.
Yeah.
Martinez might even end up coming to us. So who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe we could talk about Kingsgate for the last bit, because
Yeah.
that is I suppose you could say that is a bit of a worry as well. The way he's palmed that straight back out to the forward to put away. If they don't buy a keeper, which I don't think they will, then we might be a bit nervous in moments throughout the season when we have to rely on him. He pulled off some amazing saves to keep us in the league last year, and I think that's the one player that kind of thought, yeah, he's okay. We can keep hold of him. We can start him next season. But yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm kind of 50-50 on it, to be honest.
I think a lot of people are with Kinski.
Yeah.
A lot of people are a little bit 50-50 with him. But
just a case of just watch and see what happens, I guess.
Yeah.
Very sensible call, Stefan.
Yeah,
and I think
I
you
really
were
did.
actually a
Try to
great
be
person to end
level-headed.
on, to be fair. A great person to end on.
Yeah,
No
really
worries.
did.
Well, thank you, sir. Thanks
Okay
for
then,
coming on,
guys.
and hope
I'll
to
let
have you
you
next
wrap up.
time.
Cheers.
Thanks,
Have a
Stefan.
good week,
Appreciate you.
guys.
Have a good
See ya.
weekend. Or have a good
Bye.
week. Sorry, start of the week. See ya. Come on, you Spurs.
Big
Great
up,
call in
Stefan.
from everybody. Stefan actually calmed me down a little bit. Low cortisol levels now, as the kids are saying. I liked the idea of seeing it from the perspective of performances and whatnot. Mary W., good to always have you, Mary. Mary, you should start your own channel. I think you're made for it in terms of she has great reactions to the players sometimes. Big up, Mary.
We got Mary.
Well, I think we'll end things off there, though. Be back tomorrow to get ready for Charlton. Start of the Cup fever. I said we're going to go all the way to the final. So we better win tomorrow against Charlton.
Hopefully,
see.
Jacko. A
We'll see you
win would
next time,
alleviate the panic after the Brentford game, if you know what I mean. If we
Absolutely.
don't win, it's going to ramp up tenfold. So we'll see how we get on.
Yeah, there is that. Well,
Yeah.
everybody, have a good rest of your nights or your evenings, and hope to see you all tomorrow with us. Thank you, as always, for the support, and we'll see you next time. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.